shutdown as well. But Noah, 3 fully completed items. He is a monster, level 13, same level as Xiaohu. And the Baron is being baited. Farsight being used. That's now not available. There's no vision in the pit outside of that control ward. Yep.
Just got put in by Weiwei. That's what we see great teams do, is just constantly have a way to refresh that vision.
But you look at the inventories, the vision is now very limited. Still a control ward available for Trimby, and 4 control wards littered around this Baron area for Fnatic. Excellent patience being demonstrated by them.
And this is great as well. You step deeper, you get your vision just that slight bit further into the enemy jungle. You start to deny things, and if you can hold this for a while, it becomes very tricky. Trimby here, stepping forward, misses the knock-up onto the Shy, and is immediately knocked up himself. Pathmaker coming out from Oscar in the Shy, caught with the Glacial Prison, the Keeper's verdict comes through, but it goes through the goalpost once again, and Weiwei is dragged back into the meat grinder. Hostile takeover only hits onto Razork. Fnatic have been dodging that incredibly well in this series. Humanoid on Weiwei, lay up towards the top side, but Razork immediately turns on him. Oscar and keeping 3 people at bay. Down towards the bottom side is Light. Now only with a cleanse to try and get away. The all-out on the Shy. Pulled back with the Pathmaker. Infernal chains the knock back with the Intofos. The Shy down, and nothing can bail Weibo out of this team fight once again. Oscar in! Can't quite land the Q3 and is able to dodge away from Light just in time before his life is forfeit.
All 5 members are alive. The jungler is dead from Weibo. That's no smite, and I think that's a Baron for Fnatic.
25 minutes in, Fnatic have Kensol. They have what's gonna be a 5,000 gold lead. They have a massive lead in terms of inventories, and now they have the Baron as well. It's hope beyond hope here for EU, but what a game it has been from Fnatic.
The Shy gets focused down initially, but he's able to disengage. Then they turn their attention to Weiwei, and you can see that Weibo is just split up in the fight. It's hard to know who to focus. This front line of Oscarinin is just soaking up so much damage. They think that they've caught Humanoid, but then Razork turns his attention to Light. Oscarinin zones 3 on the bot side, while Fnatic can just chase down whoever they want. And it's just a one-sided affair. Noah is untouched, and he is lethal. Fnatic, 3 kills, 2 rather, my apologies. Fnatic with the Baron, and Fnatic looking to secure game 1 in what has been one of the most convincing games here at Worlds.
The shockwave once again from Humanoid pulls the Shy back. He has to pop the World Ender, but those wings only carrying you down a coward's path back towards your base. Fnatic now pushing in 2 lanes. You can see Oscarina shifting from bot into mid. The rest of Fnatic now moving up towards the top side. Humanoid can shadow this red side jungle to make sure he can react to either side as necessary. Noah has the Calibrum and the Crescendum, and he will rip these towers to shreds. Like butter, they melt before him. Oscar pushing in mid with the Baron buff as well. The Shy's going to try and answer that. No ult on him, remember, but he does still have the flash. Oscar under the tower, keeping the Shy interested. Top lane inhibitor now falling lower as Weibo look for their opportunity, look for their moment to strike. Is it a flash shockwave from Xiaohu? Is it a keeper's verdict from Weiwei? The Glacial Prison comes out, but it's short of locking anyone up, and now Xiaohu kept at bay with an incredible Arctic Assault from Razork. The inhibitor tower falls, Oscar in and all outs the Shy, and he's gonna pull him back. Oscar not shy of this fight right now as Fnatic collapse from the top side, and the Shy found wanting yet again by Fnatic. A TP behind though as Xiaohu is looking for something. Can he find the fight? Great flash, and Tofu, Light, dashing away with the cleanse. The hostile takeover hits one, but Noah immediately cleanses away from it. Captain Jack from Noah, Infernum, bail out! Light is down! And all light extinguished from the eyes of Weibo! Fnatic are knocking on the Nexus!
Xiaohu's trying to catch the wave to stop the end, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Fnatic have their eyes on the Nexus.
In the most convincing form I have seen Fnatic all year, they are 1 game away from quarterfinals!
What a performance from Fnatic. The Fnatic chance here in Seoul. Razork with an early game masterclass, and Noah rounding it out. Incredible stuff from this Fnatic.
And for Weibo, backs against the wall now. 1 game between you and being knocked out of Worlds. 1 game between you and your fans ripping off their shirts, crying, in whatever room they're sitting in. One game between the Shy and being eliminated from Worlds 2023. We're going to hand it over to the analyst desk to break down what was a banger game one.
I hope you're in a better mood now if you're watching from Europe, because out of the bingo card in terms of watching a clean performance for Fnatic versus Weibo, I don't think anyone thought it would be clean regardless, but I definitely didn't think that it would be this clean from Fnatic.
Have we learned nothing? Final day Fnatic, backs against the wall, 2017, 18,
Listen,
19.
I'm going to apply the KT strat here, and I am not getting
20.
excited, but you guys can.
All right.
I wouldn't say excited, but I do think that Fnatic, all the credit to them. They have a very good read in the draft. They have a very clear game plan that they then execute, and they give zero opportunity to Weibo to come back.
Let's talk about this draft, though, because, I mean, a bit of a draft gappy.
Yeah, I mean, this was such a good draft from Fnatic. And, I mean, we were chatting about it backstage. As soon as the Renata came through, they were like, hang on a second, we haven't committed to any sort of dive. We haven't committed to anything that this Renata can actually play into. Let's play for a bunch of these non-committal engages that can set us up. Things like the Sejuani ult, things where we can bring in the Milio so he can support this Aphelios and playing hyper-aggressive and not get punished because the Renata's already picked.
Yeah, I love how they picked such a strong team fighting comp that could still engage, right? Team fighting comp that could still engage, right? If they wanted to, the Cassante and Sejuani could still go in, but it's not like they needed to dive to succeed. So they were able to play the game out with so much patience, and then partially because of the first blood and the way Razork played, they won 2 out of 3 lanes, so they also had control of every Drake.
And I think the Weibo comp also, the moment you fall behind, like, what does this, how do you win with this comp? There is no go button, there's no hard engage, and I think particularly what we've seen when the LPL looks at its best, BLG to me is always the best example of this. The snap engages are so good. In this comp, the moment you're not first to an objective, it does nothing.
And I think you could kind of see how well aware Fnatic were of potential turnarounds Weibo had. My biggest worry for them was, like, you get the Sejuani ult, they immediately start to chase, and suddenly Renata ult comes across everyone and the fight turns around. That's not what we got, though. And I think you could see that a lot in Noah specifically, because I think Noah was always aware of, hey, I'm going to Gale Force backwards, I'm actually going to buy space for myself, and he was the one that my eyes are focused on. He picks up the early kill in this engage here, and from that, starts Cole, gets the kill, he's off to a phenomenal start thanks to Razork here.
And Raz, I gotta say, I was so impressed by this man. Sejuani often kind of feels like it stands or falls by how are your ultimates mid to late game, and he didn't actually have that great of a setup, right? He had one melee character in the top side, but his early impact, putting Weiwei behind and never letting Weibo dictate the pace, while also hitting smites, incredible.
Yeah, one that we don't even have is the early blue buff steal, which set up a level advantage for the original River fight. This was amazing performance into, like, almost no-look Sej ults, where it looks like he's walking one way and he shoots it off to the left to tag the AD carry. Beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff all around. I do think what you said there, Dagda, in terms of, I think this is so important, right, on the world stage in an elimination match or a qualification match. It's both, actually, today. That you keep your cool, especially into a phenomenal team fighting region in general, and a team like Weibo who has proven to be very scrappy.
Yeah. And I want to see how Weibo is able to adapt to this, because this is 2 games in a row where Fnatic team fighting has looked great and Noah's looked great on Aphelios.
Yeah.
And even when, before he came to Fnatic, he was great on Aphelios. And they also lose the blue side where they were able to control the pick. So,
and especially if they have the same read on kind of, oh, we couldn't do anything with that draft, I think you're getting a completely different game.
I think so.
You mentioned Noah, and every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, Noah takes the game into his hands, flashes over the wall to kill Xiaohu and secure the Chemtech Soul, which we're going to look at 1 second. But yeah, he's been stellar, and I think then it's a case of, you know, if you're a Fnatic on the red side, how can you take advantage of if they do decide to expend some bans there? It's going to be super interesting. In no means a done deal, but if we look at Noah's story in the LEC the whole year, when he started in the beginning, popping off on the Aphelios that he was known of, then he tempered off, he tried to find his confidence, this is going to help.
Yeah, and I love that we get to see this aggression coming through from Noah, where he's willing to flash forward, knows he still has the Gale Force in his back pocket, and being able to pick up that kill for Xiao, who was magnificent, because it turns the whole fight then. They're able to turn around, they pick off the Shy. It was such a big moment to see that turnaround happen.
1 game away from the quarterfinals when you look at Fnatic, and I think they look very poised. We're going to get the side selection in just a second. I'm going to wager that it's going to be Weibo on blue. So I want you to do a little exercise about, what you think Weibo should change.
Well, that's the big question mark for me, is actually for Crisp.
It is.
So when I look at Renata, right, I feel like this is nearly like a band-aid for Crisp. I think he's looked absolutely fantastic on the pick. But the problem is he hasn't looked so fantastic over the course of the year on Nautilus's. He's been going back towards the Leona as his other pick. It feels like Crisp has actually had a bit of a struggle, and this Renata seems to be the, hey, we can fix this, play far back, you don't have to worry about trying to set things up. And now that it's not working, it will help that they're on the blue, but it still feels to me like Crisp actually might be struggling just with trying to get his champion pool in check.
Yeah, one thing that happened last game with Weibo on red side is they threw a lot of jungle bans, but the Sejuani was still extremely effective.
Yeah.
And I think Humanoid is the focal point of this Fnatic team, even though Noah's the one who's been carrying on the Aphelios. So the guy you see on your screen right now, Xiaohu, needs to succeed for this team to succeed. And I think making sure Orianna doesn't get in the hands of Humanoid, their blue side, they have more flexibility. I actually like to see like double or triple bans towards Humanoid to get Xiaohu a more comfortable matchup is what I want to see from Weibo.
Yeah, it could be a good angle indeed for Fnatic. It's now, the point is not to get too much in your own head, because you had a sovereign game 1 performance where you've been given a couple of gifts in the draft as well, but Maurits, they should be confident in their own ability that they can circumvent even if it gets more difficult. Now that they find themselves on the red side, also may I say, Oscar had a good game, and that's good for that guy versus the Shy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest issue for him was just that when he made a great play, half the time his team wasn't ready, right? They were like, no, there's no way he misses that Q, or he hits the Q3 rather. And being able to stay in isolation against an Aatrox and just don't die, don't give up too many plates, that's all you really need to do. The one thing for me though is when it comes to the draft, specifically Noah, because I think Noah, as mentioned, was the biggest difference in how he looks. And particularly in front of his home crowd, I think that he's getting more and more emboldened. He is also a player that's very notoriously outspoken. And I don't think he's getting Aphelios again.
Yeah.
I'll also say one final little bit of EU hopium. Last 3 years, the LPL has sent 4 teams to World Championship. Never have all 4 of those teams made it to the top 8. So if it doesn't happen now, surely it'll happen in the G2 series. It's just one of these LPL teams always seems to fall short at the World Championship, right?
Yes, is it I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just really happy that Fnatic was able to have such a convincing game 1.
Hold!
Hold! We're going to hold indeed, because we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, Weibo is with their backs against the wall. Maybe for the last time this World Championship, they have to make the reverse sweep happen versus Fnatic if they want to stay in it. And Fnatic, they are looking poised.
Slow. Look, guys, this is a good fight. Look. Okay, we fight. Go Renata. Renata no flash. Renata no flash. Go Renata. Yeah. I'm coming first. Renata is dead, I think. Yeah.
Who steps forward, he's knocked back, tries to abscond, ducked away, but the permafrost, the shockwave brings him back, even through the flash.
Look at Seri, guys. No. No, nothing. Yeah, nice.
Nice. Captain Jack from Noah, invert him, bail out, light is down, and all light extinguished from the eyes of Weibo.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Bringing in a new roommate to save money, is that the plan?
Say hi to Glenn from work.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. We switched to my plan from Verizon.
That is a good plan. Glenn?
Get my plan starting at just $25 when you bring your own phones. Plus, save when you add perks like the Disney Bundle. It's your Verizon.
somebody for my life. Make love with me, ecstasy. Say go and dance for me, bounce with me. Make love with me, ecstasy. Stay with me, not Toronto. Senses tired and lost. Never knew it was a habit. All the sins they're killing my ghost. Will I ever go find it? Get away that nobody told. Tell me why you went around with me to set me free. Do I need to wait a little more for the right time? Do I need to kill somebody for my life? Make love with me, ecstasy. Go and dance for me, bounce with me. Make love with me, ecstasy. Stay with me, not Toronto.
Welcome back to Worlds 2023, where we are in the final elimination day of the Swiss stage. Fnatic just had a convincing victory in Game 1. Weibo looking to bounce back in Game 2. Have elected the blue side. They have a 100% win rate on it across the course of Worlds. So did Fnatic, so I guess we should have just expected. You okay, mate?
I can't tell if I'm on camera.
You're on camera right now.
Hello.
We're going to jump into the draft in a second. As a note, we have different cameras, one which has the clean feed and one which has us going.
But I was also just looking at the draft. Yeah, sorry about that. I was taking my jacket off.
You look cool, man.
I was
like
really
suave,
confused.
you know? Anyway, Weibo on the blue side now. Jarvan Azir, their bans. Nico banned away by Fnatic again. So far, we're kind of following the route we expected. Azir wasn't banned by Weibo in Game 1. They instead went for Jarvan, Xayah, and Maokai here. Azir's going to replace one of those, probably the Xayah, let's be honest. Nico, Rumble, both banned by Fnatic in Game 1, though, so they are sticking to their tried and true.
So my speculation is that Weibo will just put a higher priority on their mid lane pick in this game. I feel like the Xiaohu, they just had no mid-jungle options, you know? Like the Silas Poppy, in theory, like sure it can be a decent mid-jungle 2 versus 2, but after they burned that initial flash, it was so difficult for them to really get much else out of it. I think that they want Xiaohu to have more agency and options in the game.
Ooh.
So I imagine that Fnatic will look to ban away the Orianna. It depends if Maokai, Kalista, these are all things that they're worried about.
That's another ban from Weibo on the Xayah. It's something that we have seen a couple of times from Light.
I think they just want to first pick the Orianna.
That makes sense.
I think that they don't want to make that trade. But again, I think Fnatic's happy not to make that trade, because I wouldn't be surprised to see them actually prioritize the Aphelios for Noah.
Instead, they ban away the Orianna themselves. Means Kalista is up.
So will Weibo go for it? With Maokai up and available. Remember that Noah's no stranger to Kalista himself. We know him better for these hyper-scaling, long-range AD carries. But let's see. The hover is there. Fnatic did have a fantastic early game in the first matchup.
And by no stranger, we mean he's played it twice this year and won both those games.
Yeah, see?
Obviously has more experience on it than that, but I'll see if Fnatic go for it. It does mean Fnatic would be looking for a more aggressive style.
They've locked it in. Wow.
It will be locked in, so much more early game focus.
Do they prioritize the Rel now, or do they just want to take the Sejuani matchup once again? Of course, they could do something like the Ivern, but maybe they just want to save the jungle pick for later. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rel just because it gives them flexibility in support. Maybe they just want to grab something like the Nautilus now, but there's so many potential answers to it. Instead, they're going to play it safe. All right, so they know that they're not playing towards the top side of the map. They want to guarantee Oscar something that he's safe and comfortable on. And the Renata priority again. I guess this time around, it makes a little bit more sense. We had question marks last game about when you have Renata Poppy, where does your engage really come from? The Aphelios answer from Light Okay, Aphelios Renata, a very powerful 2v2 lane. Fnatic, I feel they need to lock in their support here. That does mean that they can give up jungle, but I honestly don't think that's the end of the world. Yep. When you think about Ivan, potentially Poppy, Sejuani, they have options that they can save for later in the draft, but they're going to lock in a mid for Humanoid here.
And Humanoid had Xiaohu's number, at least in the laning phase. Xiaohu was able to pick up a couple of kills throughout the game, but I think Humanoid had more of an impact on the game in totality. Syndra now locked in. I'd like Fnatic to ban the Poppy just because it's very good into Kalista. We have already seen.
So I'm just throwing it out there. Soraka Kalista was something that old school Rogue, they brought it out in the finals back in last year, 2022 LEC finals, and it was Trimby, as you said, alongside Comp. Wouldn't surprise me if Trimby just said, hey Noah, how do you feel? But we'll wait until later on in the draft, of course. The Poppy's still a potential. They're going to choose to ban that one away for the top lane matchup.
Where will Weibo go with their bans here? Can look towards the jungle, can look towards support as well, as you say. Yeah, Nautilus removed. Trimby, although he is a very good engaged player and he is very good at Rakan and he can play things like the Nautilus, more known for his enchanters, his Nami especially when he came onto the scene was very powerful, and as you said, the Soraka, a possibility for him here.
What about Rakan with the Poppy ban?
Yeah.
I mean, Kalista Rakan, not like the strongest 2v2 bot
still
lane.
really nice.
Yeah.
As Rakan, you get chucked in, you ult immediately, and you're in the middle of 3 people. It's really solid, and you can even E away, so you don't have to wait for your W to have that half-second lockout. It's not a lane that will dominate the lane through the support and AD carry synergy, but it gives you a lot of potential later on in the game. Akali now taken away.
But look at how much mid-focus they put there with the Nico, the Orianna, and the Akali, and the prioritization on the Syndra. Fnatic really want to make Xiaohu sweat. They want to make him dig deep into his champion pool, and they want to try and take some of that mid-lane control away. A lot of fans of Weibo have said that he's the reason why he got here, right? Xiaohu is what brought this team to the World Championship. Will we see Razork go to his Lee Sin? Honestly, I'd be a little bit surprised. The Rel and the Rakan are both being covered. I think both are fine choices.
I also think Rel here gives you some flexibility because you can still flex that into the jungle. You can then see what you get from Weibo on these next 2 picks. And it gives you a few more options going into R5. And it looks like that is what Fnatic are going to lock in. Weibo now have to go mid-top. Will the Shy just revert back to his Aatrox? Struggled against the Cassante, or at least struggled to have an impact in the game. In the laning phase, he was fine, about 20 CS up, but didn't have as much power as he would have liked in those later game team fights. Taliyah in the mid lane, it looks like...
Taliyah Maokai. It's a very low damage mid jungle. We've seen it before here at Worlds, so not great success. Taliyah Jarvan is something we've seen a little bit more effectively. Obviously, a lot of utility on the side of Weibo's composition. They're engaged from the Maokai, gives them a huge amount of zone control, and if the Shy does lock in his Nart, it will give him a really strong laning phase. We saw Zeus put on a clinic yesterday with the Nart, and we know how threatening that champion can be in many 1v1 situations. And in the hands of the Shy, you know that Oscarinen's going to be playing on the weak side. The Ivern Hover, it was banned in game 1. We talked about it as a potential option. Does lower your damage, but it does also make the Kalista that much harder to kill and give the team a few more scaling options.
Also the Alistar. Talked about that flexibility for the Rel. Instead, Lee Sin locked in.
Okay, this is a big confidence play from Razork. He's saying, you know what? I believe in our mid jungle. Humanoid, I trust you. I think together we can win this. And you look at the damage difference. Like, it doesn't take an expert to know that Lee Sin Syndra is quite the powerful 2v2 into Maokai Taliyah. It gives you so much control over things like the early crabs, early dragons. And it's also a lane that you can threaten and then look to move into bot.
Yeah.
It's just so much skirmishing power. And Fnatic, they've gone all in early game, right? When you look at that Aphelios, when you play into a Taliyah long range outside of the Rel and I guess the Kalista pullback into re-engage, the engage isn't super solid, whereas the amount of utility that Weibo have, this front-to-back composition, the range that they have at their disposal, the later this game goes, the more options that they're going to have to be able to fight. So we're going to need to see another early game masterclass from Razork for Fnatic to come out ahead in this one. They have bought themselves a bit of breathing room winning game 1. If they do fall short here, we will be going to a decider game 3, but they don't want to fall short here. They want to cement themselves in the quarterfinals.
Momentum's so often the deciding factor in game 3s as well.
Yeah.
If you lose game 2, even in a best of 5, if you lose game 3, often things can start to turn, the tides can start to turn, and Weibo so often have been the team that have turned the tides on their opposition, making their way through top esports and EDG to be here, coming in second in the regional gauntlet, only behind LNG.
So let's see what they can do. We return to the Rift. Game 2. The last time we saw Fnatic in a quarterfinals was against top esports back in 2020.
Let's not talk about that.
It was a while ago. Fnatic have been clamoring to be one of Europe's representations for a while, and Weibo looking to do the same thing today.
And if you want to represent on the Rift as well, you can log into your Riot account and watch Worlds 2023 on lolesports.com to earn exclusive drops like emotes and icons. Always nice to have, you know, your team's icon that you can flash when you make an outplay, or even when you make a misplay, if you so desire. Every now and again, I'll put the BDS one up when I make a mistake in lane.
It's kind of mean. Why are BDS catching strays?
They're already out of the competition, man. Like, we support the winners here, Vetti.
Every time I die, I throw up my XDD emote.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I thought they cancelled that one, didn't they?
You're right, actually. That's true. They did. I forgot about that. Now, early vision invested from both sides. You can see that deep ward dropped in bot lane. In the river, though, from Fnatic, they have some wards to see if there are any early shenanigans being set up by Weibo. But it looks like Weiwei will start on the top side. Razok will look to do the same. I can't quite see, given his icon, if a ward was dropped. It doesn't look like it based on the cooldowns of the wards on Weibo that any more than this initial blue ward bot lane. So no information garnered from either side as to where the enemy jungler is starting for now.
Razok just doing his top side camps. Wonder if he'll look towards top lane. Always a possibility, that level 3. Weiwei matching, though. He'll be going down towards the wolves, so his path kind of leads him away from top. Actually, it looks like Razok might skip out on his Krugs and just go down towards the bottom lane with his positioning.
I mean, he needs to play towards this lane, right?
Yeah,
you can see they've already gotten the early push with the range advantage that they have. The level 2 is going to kick in soon. Noah only has a single CS, but that's kind of expected. Started with the Raptors, went to blue. I was like, there's no way he's going to go for a level 2, right? Surely
Skips blue,
not.
goes Gromp, and they can go back towards the blue.
But it's a fast clear, right? And the goal is to get an early level 3 and look for a play. The ward is dropped, though, and it has been pinged out by Fnatic, so they know that it's there. So if he does want to find a play, he's going to have to get creative with his pathing. Keep your eyes on Razok on that minimap, see what he's up to.
And keep your eyes on Light and Crisp in this bottom lane. Already a 10 CS lead. There is a big stacking wave here, obviously. So Light and Crisp, as they push this in, could look for a recall. Get back, get yourself, you know, an extra longsword or some boots. But they might even just look for extra pressure. Calibrum giving them that little bit more range in this lane right now. Trimby and Noah looking for 2, but they're not going to be able to do too much unless Razok comes around. Now he can ward hop into the tri-bush here. Maokai's going to try and match him. Weiwei on his way, still on the red now, and Razok's worked his way all the way around. How close is Weiwei to joining this fight? Because that could be the deciding factor as the stun comes down and Crisp has to flash away immediately. Exhaust still available to him. Goes down, Razok tempers cripple. There's the slow, the Sonic Wave goes wide, but Crisp is ripped apart by Noah's spears.
It's first blood for Noah once again. Fnatic start off strong on the bot side of the map, and we could see it from Razok's pathing. His goal was to find action in the early game, and they're able to do it. They set their sights on Crisp very early on. They knew about the cleanse on Light. They didn't care about it. Getting his summoners means that they're looking for a repeat play on that bot side of the map, and Fnatic will find first blood onto Noah.
And Razok once again with the creative pathing, showing the top tier that he often showed in Europe. Sometimes, though, did really struggle, and today seems like he is just on form. Good engaged by Trimby to kick it off with the flash, making sure he couldn't be handshaked away.
Yeah, and the exhaust comes out as well. Razok, he just flash commits. He does miss the Q, but at the end of the day, they get the damage done. The execution from Noah and the Fnatic flare is flown. So good stuff from Fnatic here in the early game. A very small gold advantage, but crucially, summoners burn, and that's what matters, as these players are going to be looking to make repeat appearances on the bot side of the map. And again, like, you look at top lane, and credit to Oscar, dead even on CS, even with the pressure that's being put on him underneath the tower. Small CS advantage for Humanoid in the 1v1. And this is great news for Fnatic. As long as those 2 solo laners are stable, it makes it so much easier to build more leads in the bot lane.
Good news for Weibo, though, is that Weiwei hasn't fallen as far behind as he did in Game 1. His jungle wasn't stolen from him, no blue buffs seal early on, so he's just been able to farm up. Yes, hasn't been part of the action yet, but he'll be okay with that. And also, Light in the bottom lane does still have this 16 CS lead. It's almost 2 waves over the course of the first 5 minutes of the game. Even though Noah was able to pick up the kill in the pure 2v2, the control still very much in Weibo's favor.
And Zerka's Green's already picked up for Light. But keep your eyes on the jungle here. Already going to look for a dragon 5 minutes in. Oscar needs to be careful. Takes a lot of damage from the Shy. Oh, going to throw another rock. Okay, he's able to sidestep that one.
There's a lot of rock throwing on the Weibo side.
Certainly is.
Dragon now secured for Fnatic. Oscar knows his job is just to survive. Hits level 6 as the minion wave pushes in, but now he can back TP. Especially since the Dragon already gone, so he knows there's no possibility of the Shy TPing down there.
So this wave is in a bit of an awkward spot right now for Fnatic. In an ideal world, they want to push it underneath the tower, but they don't have a huge amount of vision around the tri-bush. And if they walk too close, then Light can just trade on him. Look at his guns right now, the root from the Gravidum and the damage from the Infernum. Not something you want to play against right now.
There's such a threat as well. You get Gravitum rooted, you get hand shook, and then Weiwei can have all the time in the world to walk through the tri-bush and round. Flash Twisted Advance, and you're basically gonzo. Does have the cleanse. We saw Noah very fast on the trigger with that in game 1, and Razork once again shadowing. None of his camps are up, so not wasting too much time here, just making sure that his bot lane is as safe as they possibly can be.
This wave slowly pushing back towards Noah and Trimby, so they're perfectly fine. Weiwei now shadowing. Both junglers level 5. Razork has his eyes set on mids.
Flash from Xiaohu. Once again, the respect. We've seen it in both games from the Weibo mid laner. Always willing to burn that flash. Weiwei here didn't put
threatening a
sapling
dive
in the bush. They were threatening it. The Sentinel also missed Weiwei as he walked around, but the control ward that's in the pixel bush will spot him now. So Fnatic know there is that possibility. No wards on them. I think Trimby's probably 25 seconds away from coming back. Would love to put that in towards the tri-bush in that bottom lane.
So both Humanoid and Oscar have used their TPs, so that's not an option as a defensive play. Looks like that the dive isn't going to come through right now, though, for Weibo. Lee Sin on the top side of the map means that there's no protection for this bot lane, but with Weiwei safely going back to base, Fnatic fans can rest easy knowing that that dive isn't going to come through.
It's a really good push timer, though, for Weibo, because after they get this wave in, they can then reset for the Herald if they so desire. It's 30 seconds away from spawning. Razork is on the top side of the map. Question mark pings coming out on the blue buff as well. I wonder if Weibo think that Razork has gone for that, but with Xiaohu not having flash, Humanoid flashes in, the scatter the weak and the unleashed power enough. Razork looking for the kick, but he does just have the damage, tanks the tower and escapes. It was a little messy, but Fnatic get the kill in mid.
Well, the unraveled earth is what made it complicated, right? Humanoid flashes in with the ultimate to get as much damage as possible at the start so that he can guarantee the stun connecting to then allow the Q to connect, and then Razork realizes the only way I'm getting this kill is if I flash R to get the lower health damage and then execute, but now Weibo's bot lane looking for something.
As Trimby steps forward here, the handshake always a possibility. Noah trying to dance around, now hits 6, has that base call. Noah looking to get away from it, base call coming out as well. Noah burns the flash and will escape. Moonlight Vigil invested by Light. He has all those chakrams, but they fall off relatively quickly. And with only 2 minions here, no more plates a possibility for Weibo. Weiwei will start up the Rift Herald though. Razork on the bottom side of the map, no way for Fnatic to respond.
A really nice trade there from Light and Crisp, just giving the impression that they had gone back to base. And with the play that was made in mid, Razork's not in a position to contest this Herald. Plate should go in favor of Light as well. So overall, a lot of gold still going towards Light. And they can just funnel this Herald towards the bot side of the map as well. So Weibo, even though they're down 2 kills, definitely not out of this game. Light is the win condition, and we talked about how Fnatic are going all in on these early game plays, and while they are finding a couple kills, they're not really converting it into anything significant for the time being. Xiaohu now on the roam. We'll spot out this control ward.
Yeah. Razork looking for him. Might have to dance away. Doesn't have a ward right now, actually, so if he was caught up there, he would have been a little bit stuck in the enemy jungle. Red buff not going to be stolen away. The Shy doing a good job of keeping Oscar in below full HP, usually around half. Razork now clears out the control ward, but no red buff steal for him. Let's have another look at this mid lane play.
So again, Humanoid flashes in first, throws the ult out, guarantees the stun. The Q then connects. He realizes if he follows that Q, he's going to get stunned. So he flashes to ult to then guarantee the execute damage on the Q. Well played from Razork. He's having an incredible series so far. A 30 CS difference in mid lane. A full level advantage for Humanoid. Now 20 CS after catching that wave, but still This mid gap is continuing to grow, but still Light in a great position. If we look at the total gold, he's not that far behind Noah. The concerning thing for Weibo is how many Fnatic members are sitting near the top when it comes to total gold.
Only the Shy ahead of Humanoid, Noah, and Razork there. With 30 seconds on the Drake, though, Light and Crisp getting control through the bottom lane. Something Fnatic would have been looking towards is, can we stack these Drakes early? You can see first one taken only 5 minutes into the game, but because Noah and Trimby are behind in this lane, because they cannot get the push, it becomes ever so slightly more tricky, and you can see Razork deciding to play through mid instead. Unleash Humanoid on the map and then play around him. Rift Herald a possibility here in the bottom lane. The handshake just short. Weiwei puts down the Rift Herald. Razork and Humanoid move from mid after they gain the prior and might join up a play here. It's Xiaohu backing, but he does have the TP and he has the wards aplenty to join this fight as needed. Light, 175 gold for him from the plate.
I like this play from Weibo. I think it's smart to just keep funneling gold into Light. He is going to be your late game insurance. He is going to be your hyper carry. And it's a clean play on a stacked wave. They drop the Herald. Little that Fnatic can do to contest it. The Shy just clearing out the wave with his ultimate.
Yeah, and if you get Oscar in it, it's a bonus, right?
Yeah. But his main goal there is just to keep that pressure up. 2 plates secured for him. He's constantly had push on the top side. Not really had to be afraid of any gank from Razork. If he does, then that bot lane tower is going to go down, right? So Oscar does, of course, have the TP. He should look to base here. Weibo now on the Dragon. And Fnatic not really in a position to contest. So overall, this is still a fantastic early game for Weibo. Fnatic have been finding kills, but we talked about the scaling. Weibo have great scaling. Their range is going to become a real problem later on into this game. And Fnatic, they've only found a dragon off of these early kills. Herald and the second dragon gone down in favor of Weibo, and all these plates still being collected by the Weibo members.
Weibo will be very happy with this position, especially against a lane that can be very aggressive in the Kalista and the Rel. Obviously, we do still have mid-game fights, second fights. Weiwei looking for the Nature's Grasp. Noah has the cleanse, the root lands, but there's the face call to get him away. Summoner burn for an ultimate there from Weiwei, but it's still the pressure as well. It's not just about the fact that you are getting these summoners out of Fnatic, although that's obviously a huge benefit. It's also about the fact that Fnatic now have to think, is Weiwei there? Can we step up? Can we go further? Because if we do, I no longer have the cleanse. He could flash root me, and then I'm pulled back with a handshake, or even with the hostile takeover. Razork coming to support his bot side, but Weiwei once again here. Everyone knows bot lane is the place to be.
Now there's a fight in mid lane over that control. Both of these mid laners want to be able to roam down. Humanoid going for a nice trade, will proc the phase rush.
He gets the splinters as well, 58 of them. 120 is when you get the extra AP, 100 is when your ultimate gets that execution threshold. Does have some power as we get towards the mid game, but Xiaohu absorbing the pressure really well in the mid lane. Such an experienced mid laner as well. Obviously MSI champion many times over. Very good at understanding how to play when you are not on the strong side of the map.
Weiwei doesn't have the ultimate, but it will be up soon. Again, Humanoid continuing to poke away at Xiaohu. So Leandri's doing that extra bit of tick damage as both supports make their way towards mid.
The game slows down a bit, Betty.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I think Weibo's really happy with this.
Yeah.
This game state is a very comfortable one for them to be in. Crisp.
Jimmy gets the stun. Humanoid looks for a little bit more. The scatter of the weak. Exhaust, the unleashed power won't be enough through the exhaust as Humanoid's intent to kill is stifled by that summoner from Crisp, but both his flash and exhaust now burnt. Light stepping up a little bit. They're looking for the flank as well as Noah flashes forward, cleanse away, but there's the slow onto Light, and you can see where Trimby's trying to get in from. No flash, no cleanse on Light. Trimby can flash in and look for that Magnet Storm. Razork on his way as well. Trimby tanks the knock up, the Magnet Storm possible as well as Light will fall, but Trimby follows suit. Razork gets the kick away to make sure that the Shy can't close the gap. Noah can dash back for the safeguard. And Trimby actually didn't have the Magnet Storm in that plate, so that's why he didn't use that ultimate.
No, also didn't have mana for the ultimate as well. But now Humanoid's in a bit of danger. Weiwei sees the play. Oh no, hang on a minute. Flash for Weiwei.
Humanoid has flash as well. Humanoid sees it was in the shop, knocked back though, and now Xiaohu can look for the seismic shot. The Nature's Grasp hits just at the tip. The seismic shot back on Humanoid, and he falls to Weibo in mid.
A nice collapse and response from Weibo. The tower secured in bot lane as well. Very quickly, this gold is going in the favor of Weibo. Fnatic found some good early picks, but Weibo played the patient game. They played the long game. And now they're walking away with the advantages. Great punish onto Humanoids. They get his flash out. They get a kill onto Xiaohu. And now they've been able to neutralize the game a lot more. This look back, Noah had to burn a lot. The movement speed from Light is enough to just keep that gap between him and Noah. Then the dive comes through. Trimby misses the initial stun. He gets a huge keel from the ultimate. And then again, Noah, no mana for the ulti to bring him to safety. Good kick there from Razork. But Humanoid should have just been basing underneath the tower. Wants to get a quicker base off. He does see the Maokai, but he doesn't flash in time. And then he tries to flash out of the way of the ultimate here, but it just sets up for the knockback from Xiaohu. And of course, isn't able to flash away from the root. So nice stuff there from Weibo. Now the Herald being started off. The Shy is here.
Oscar has TP. He's pushing in bot wave right now. There's the Weaver's wall to separate the team. Rift Herald secured as Trimby's locked up, but the Fate's Call pulls him back. Who got the Herald? Well, the Iron not picked up yet by Weibo. Weiwei could walk across it here. It's taken by Fnatic in that fight. Weibo just making sure Fnatic can't get in and get out. Razork does have the Dragon's Rage, so who could look for Noah here? Seismic Shot dodged by Noah. Fnatic using the fact that Weibo are spending their time around this eye to allow Oscar Winning to push in bot and Humanoid push in mid. Razork.
But look at, yeah.
He's going for the kick. Oh. He gets the kick on Xiaohu into the Magna Storm, and now Xiaohu's pulled back, stunned up, locked up, and Oscar Winning joins the fray. That's 2 for Fnatic.
Unbelievable kick from Razork there. I didn't think they'd try and make a play. Hang on a minute, Light.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, just a bit of chip damage. Humanoid does have the ult, but maybe he's going to get dived. He's going to be forced to run away from that tower, unlocking that. But Weibo, they were pushing in mid. They were just kind of defending this top tower. Then Razork says, I see an angle. Goes in, gets a great kick onto Xiaohu. Chooses not to flash away, realizing that there's no real point. And they get themselves a double kill. I think that the TP from Oscar was a little unnecessary. But you know what? Fnatic make it work. They've been able to claw the gold lead back, but really it's dead even between the two teams. Weibo have gotten so much map control off the back of this. Look, that top tower's going to fall. The pings are coming down. The bot tower's fallen as well. They've unlocked mid too. So Weibo definitely not in a bad spot, even though Fnatic have the kill lead.
Yeah, it feels like Fnatic need to keep finding inventive plays, whereas Weibo can just keep waiting, keep scaling. It's only the second dragon. As you say, Oscar does have the all-out. Trimby trying to join in the fray as well. No Magnet Storm for him, no Flash either. Makes it hard for him to join the battle. Xiaohu's ultimate up in 6 seconds, but Fnatic will secure the Drake before it comes back off cooldown. So it's 2 dragons to 1 now. 17 minutes in. Basically honors even between these two teams. Only the Drake really separating them. We'll have another look here as Razork flies into the backline using Weiwei as a taxi.
Just really nice play. The follow-up from Trimby as well. I think he does go for the ward hop here, but then he just flashes. Yeah, the ward isn't quite where he wants it, but he gets the job done. Secures the kickback onto Xiaohu, and he decides, you know what, flashing away is pointless here. I see the TP coming in, may as well hold that summoner spell. The Shy now in a bit of danger, but the team is there to support.
I think he's in less danger than he was a moment ago as the rest of Weibo here to react quickly. Trimby on a ward once again, caught out, pulled back with the handshake, but not too much damage to follow it up. Only the Maokai there who's gone Radiant Virtue first as well, no Demonic.
Weibo doing the correct thing here and just playing for that final outer tower in top lane, giving the support to the Shy. Fnatic, it's only really Humanoid that can match the wave clear from the Shy, and they threaten that dive. He knows he doesn't have flash, so he's forced to disengage. Another tower goes in favor of Weibo. So this goal difference has just kind of shifted back and forth. While Fnatic have found a bunch of kills, Weibo have done pretty good in terms of the farm discrepancies on both the Shy and Light. Also, all those plates that they picked up in the early game and these early towers has resulted in the situation that we now find ourselves in. You can see that goal difference over time. The range is only 1,000 either way. It stayed very close. And again, I think that this favors Weibo overall. It'll ultimately come down to how these team fights in the mid-game are played. In game 1, Fnatic had a good lead and they out-team fought Weibo in the mid-game. But can they do the same thing now? Light is getting stronger. Can he be shut down, or will he and the Shy run rampant in the team fights?
And the big fight we expect to see is in 3 minutes time around that Mountain Drake. Weibo will want to stop Fnatic getting onto Soul Point. They can delay if they feel necessary, but it'll be a little bit trickier for them because at that point, every Drake is Soul. Xiaohu here does have the flash. He has Renato in his pocket as well as Fnatic start to deny the vision. The wave cleared out as Razork's just going to tank it. Dragon's Rage kick gets back. Trimby with the flash stun as well as Xiaohu is locked out. He thought it was safe, but not for long as Trimby now tanks the Nature's Grasp. He can be pulled back with the Fate's Call as Noah flashes away to escape the Shy. Fnatic, clean pick there in the top lane, but once again, it doesn't really amount to much.
The Shy is here to defend a good TP, and I guess Xiaohu just felt safe. He one-shot that wave. He thought that this dive was going to be extremely difficult, and he thought that he'd have the support from his team, but Razork, once again, with a kick to the face, sends Xiaohu into the waiting arms of Fnatic where they find a pick. But you called it, Medic. No tower, no advantage really gained, just a single pick. And that's Noah's summoner's gone. 2 minutes until the Mountain Dragon, and the Shy is going to know that.
Xiaohu invested nothing. Only the Weaver's Wall has the flash, has the TP. TP immediately in by Weibo. They're looking for the Baron here. Light with red, white. He wants to fight. Humanoid now pushing in, as you say. That ward in the back of it is actually cancelled. They cannot see it right now. Now they can because of the fast sight alteration. TP in. Razork now tanking up the Baron. Oscar inning joins the fray. Weiwei on the front line. Nature's Grasp not available for him for a few more seconds. 15 at least as Weiwei's stunned up. The unleashed power. Oscar goes in, but Light able to flash away just in time. For me and Tofu strike the hostile takeover being used as well as Noah tries to get into the battle. But Trimby's already down, and now Weibo can start to turn it around. The Baron down to 3,000. Humanoid dancing around, doing everything he can. But he's locked up, stunned up as Oscar dives in front of his mid laner. Can't stop them. Razork tries to get onto the Baron, but he's shut out as well. And Weibo with a perfect team fight. Turn it on his head.
Fantastic fight from Weibo. Such a great decision to start the Baron off and force Fnatic into this awkward fight. Trimby didn't have the ultimate available, and they were able to turn it around. Great patience as well. Once Razork and Oscar were in the pit, look, they disengage. They don't even hit the Baron, they just let the Baron do the work for them. And they use their range to their advantage. Trimby with an initial stun. Oscar goes in, but then the follow-up just isn't there from Trimby. A great Renata ultimate to zone Noah and Humanoid away. And look, the backline of Fnatic isn't hitting onto anyone. Weibo played patiently, and then this pick from Xiaohu, nicely done onto Humanoid. He loses his life, a lot of the damage disappears, Noah can't get involved. And just this range discrepancy, Weibo leverage it perfectly, and they send Fnatic to the fountain.
And it's a cooldown diff ready. No ultimates for Fnatic, no flashes as well. They invest them in the top lane play, and Weibo knowing that are like, actually, how are they going to fight us if we're here? We still have a tanky front line. We still have the Shy who's been farming up 2 items, 3 items now on the Nart. The Mountain Drake now in Fnatic's eyes, but Weibo have just shown us how well they can win a fight. No summoners still on Noah. The clean's about to come off cooldown. Oscar in has the all-out. The seismic shove goes wide. Razork's looking for the flank. He's trying to be as sneaky as he can, and with a good kick. What a way it would be to make Fnatic's way into the quarterfinals. What a standout series Razork has had. Joined Misfits just a few years ago in the early
Look at Xiaohu.
Sapling spots Razork. He's going to jump the wall here, but there's another Sapling that finds him immediately. Xiaohu comes in with a Weaver's Wall, or the Fnatic back away from it. Fnatic don't have to fight this Drake, but you can see the time slipping away. The sands in the hourglass starting to slip through their fingers. The Dragon resets. Weibo back away, the Shy looking for the flank. He's got Mega Gnar, it's timing out down to half on the timer on that right now. He's spotted by the ward, he uses the sweeper, but once again that sweeper will expire and the ward will come back alive. Mini Gnar now for the Shy. Razork still standing behind the pit, he's gonna jump in. 4,000 HP on the Dragon as Fnatic look for what could be the final fight of the game, or at least a game-defining fight. The smite comes out from Weiwei, and now Fnatic try and turn and burn and do everything they can to kill off the Shy, but once again the Shy, it's just too damn good. He dodges away as Light goes on a killing spree. A double for him. Humanoid. Is there any way out of this? I don't think not today as Weiwei starts to close the gap. Razork's going to try and clear the way, but the TP in from the Shy. He's reset. He's back. Razork misses the Sonic Wave. He'll flash. Humanoid already down, and only Razork left to watch as Weibo chase him down. The red buff there, but the Shy's there too, as Weibo get the clean ace.
It's a clean ace once again for Weibo. Fnatic just can't deal damage. The Maokai provides so much zone control when combined with the Renata. The Shy continues to be unkillable, but like, look at how the Fnatic fight this. It's so difficult for them to actually get in range. Oscar takes so much damage initially. Humanoid and Noah zoned in the back. The early cleanse from Noah. He goes over the wall to try and create space, but the moment that he's taunted, the flash in from Weiwei, and he loses his life. The front to back is so much stronger from Weibo with this composition, this prioritization on the Aphelios. And it's making such a massive difference. Weibo come out on top in the fight. Weibo dominating for Fnatic. Dominating Fnatic, rather. and they're looking to equalize this series.
And they just waited their time, Betty. They played it safe and steady in the early game, and now 24 minutes in, it is a 10,000 gold lead for Weibo. Light 5-1, writing names in his death note left and right. The Shy 404, enemies not found. At least here in game 2, it feels like we're going down to the wire. It's a series. It's on our hands. We have to say that at least once.
That it is.
For Fnatic, it would be the most unlikely comeback to win this game, but you have to think their minds now on how they change in game 3. Blue side, a certainty. The question is, will it be enough?
That's the question. I mean, just look at the level difference between the AD carries. Light about to tick over to 15. Those 3 items primed and ready to go with the Vamp Scepter to boot. He's about to change guns. Saving that last tick of ammo, I imagine, for the Q usage to help build up those chakram should a fight take place. The Shy continuing to pressure in bot lane, a 2-level advantage over Oscar. And look at how much damage he's doing in these fights. The Shy, the quiet unsung hero. No insane 5-man Gnar ultimates this game, but it doesn't matter. The Starax, he's proving, has a huge amount of value in these fights. He often looks like he's out of position, takes a lot of the cooldowns, then tanks it up, disengages, then when the team sees an opportunity, they go for the fight afterwards.
And just look at where the vision line advances to as soon as Weibo gain control of the game. There is not a single ward for Fnatic outside of their base. In fact, there are no wards in their base, only their towers granting them vision where they are not currently standing, and Weibo have littered at least the top side. They have a control ward at the blue as well to allow the Shy to push out. Light standing back just in case as Fnatic push out mid. Xiaohu pushing in top. It's a reset timer for Weibo. And the timer starting to tick over for the Baron as well. 17 seconds on it. Fnatic have not denied all the vision in their jungle. There are still wards there. There are still positions
top lane
for the Shy to TP in. As you say, top lane pushing on the inhibitor tower. Fnatic trying to find anything they can.
I mean, Weibo playing this incredibly smart. They set up the vision. Fnatic's forced to clear it out. But while they're doing that, Xiaohu pushes in top, the Shy pushes in bot, and now you have these 2 big points of pressure, and Fnatic's kind of forced into this awkward situation where they now feel they have to fight. But look at the Shy, looking for a flank.
The flank. Noah has flash cleanse. The Shy gets the slow though, no Mega Gnar. Weaver's wall separates Trimby. Nature's Grasp. I think that will be short.
It's a lot used though.
Agree. Razork could look for the engage, but Weiwei stands in front of his teammates.
I feel like Fnatic should consider sending someone bot just to catch those waves. A lot of farm is being lost right now. Level 15 is very close for Humanoid.
Have you heard of a 50-50 Baron though?
Oh, Razork, whoa!
Oh my goodness, Razork absolutely melted there by Light. Long range Moonlight Vigil as well, and Noah and Humanoid follows suit. Wards go in the bushes. Oscar tries to tank it up. The hostile takeover short, but Oscar trying to keep this team alive. May have sacrificed his own life. TP behind now. Xiaohu looking for the flank, has flash. The Gnar into the wall, finds 2 as Oscar goes in. Trimby gets a Magnus Storm. Noah trying to do everything he can, and Humanoid just about able to survive. Xiaohu going low. Razork, he gets the kill, but he gets outclassed by Weibo. Noah, Humanoid, and Trimby can only stand and watch as their inhibitor towers are raised to the ground, and Xiaohu, the only man to fall here for Weibo. Inhibitor will fall alongside it, and Weibo can turn their eyes back towards the Baron.
Oh, Light with a great Aphelios performance. Only a single death this game. And his range was just so incredibly difficult to deal with. You're going to see it here. Starts with the turret that applies the green gun auto, applies another one. 2 autos basically execute Razork, remove him from the fight. Collector almost finishing that kill off. Then Oscar tries to go through the unsafe way, almost loses his life as well, and then the Shy says, you know what, I'm TPing in, I've got Mega Gnar. I can immediately ultimate when I arrive, and that's exactly what he does. Humanoid has no flash. You'll see a knockback from Xiaohu. Doesn't really get that initial kill onto Humanoid. He throws his whole combo onto the Shy, he just brushes it off. Razork does get that kill, Flash is out, but the damage is done. The inhibitor will fall, and Weibo looking fantastic here in game 2. The Baron secured, the Dragon as well.
Dragon went over to Fnatic actually while Weibo were doing the Baron. At least that's what our scoreboard shows us. Still a 12,000 gold lead for Weibo, and with the power that the Shy has in his back pocket right now, you have to think it's just going to be a 1-4 split. It looks like Light currently pushing in the bottom lane. Crisp and the Shy will meet up in mid. Vision control gained around this blue side jungle. Fnatic forced back, found wanting so far in this game. The series will be evened out at 1-1 unless something truly special happens. And although Fnatic have been doubted many times, and I think game one started to silence those doubters a little bit, I don't think that they have a path back to victory, at least in this game. Weaver's wall once again. xiaohu looking for Razzle. He dashes back, but immediately is locked up. Jumps onto Crisp, who flashes away. Meanwhile, the Nature Scots on the top side of the fight means that Razzle gets entirely separated with the rest of his team. 4 members of Fnatic just trying to fight against Light and Weiwei. Hostile takeover coming out as Weiwei dashes forward and kills off 2. Oscar and Noah sent packing. An early grave for them as Humanoid will follow suit. It is a meager grade for Fnatic in this game. They tried everything they could in the early game, but they just could not match Weibo. And we are going to game 3.
I mean, Weibo, they just slowed the game down. They changed the Poppy to the Maokai, and they got themselves a very solid team fight comp. Fnatic went all in on the early game, and they just could not make it work. They could not find those early game advantages. And in the team fights, Weibo just came out on top.
Yeah, they did. We'll see if they can bounce back, or if Fnatic can bounce back in game 2, or if Weibo take it 2-1. We're going to go to a short break, but don't you dare go anywhere.
But I'm getting scared, 'cause you used to be glued to me so perfectly, filling all the in-betweens. Now there's nothing there. How am I supposed to be yours when I can't see your face? How am I supposed to not miss you with all of this space? 'Cause you say supposed to not miss you with all of this space? 'Cause you say you'll meet me there someday, but how am I supposed to be close to you now? It's cold tonight, darling, are you cold tonight? I just wanna hold you tight if you're really mine. 'Cause I can keep shouting across the galaxies. What would you do with that to me if you're really mine?
Let's fight here, we have TP.
Go,
go, I think go. Go, TP. I'm coming, this mega good. Just fight, chill, we kill. Let's go!
With Xiaohu not having flash, humanoid flash is in, scatter the weak and the unleashed power enough. Razork looking for the kick, but he does just have the damage, takes the tower and escapes. And now Fnatic try and turn and burn and do everything they can to get off the Shy. But once again, the Shy is just too damn good. He dodges away as Light goes on a killing spree, a double for him.
Light on Aphelios is lights out for Fnatic in game 2. And even though they had the early lead, maybe they were feeling it a bit too much. And the comp wasn't as much as the game progressed. What are you showing
I'm worried. I'm worried about step 3. I hope that doesn't happen.
No.
Step 2 was Callista.
Can you please, it has a little eraser function, just erase it, please.
I don't want this to happen.
For my sanity.
I feel like at this point, Razork deserves a win, man. That is two games back to back.
Is this not any Lee Sin solo queue game ever?
True.
You get and then you type in chat and you just flame
and
everybody.
Then you lose.
Yeah, unfortunately. But there's much more to this game than that. The Baron also, and I think you had a Fnatic who again had a really strong early game. They were feeling themselves. Razork was playing actually very, very, very well. So where did they lose the plot, or where did Weibo take control?
So specifically, the turning point in the game, as we're going to watch some of the early highlights from Razork, was actually a play top lane where Fnatic expended both of Noah's summoner spells, which then prompted Weibo to start the Baron.
And I think that this actually, weirdly enough, put Fnatic in the mindset where they're like, we're going to go for every single play that we can look for. And I think that with this composition, you do need to. The problem is just that it just doesn't allow you for a lot of mistakes, and that's what ends up backfiring.
Yeah, especially when you look at like a Lee Sin trying to operate against the Talia, Maokai, same when you look at the Callista, it becomes really, really difficult to try and take full-on 5v5 fights unless you have these massive leads. I think they kind of had to pivot a little bit into, hey, maybe we can look for picks, and that's why we saw Razork going for these like sick plays that you got onto Xiaohu, but it just wasn't enough, especially when that Baron, as you were saying.
You also saw that the gold wasn't really moving that much, right? There wasn't that much gotten for Fnatic in return. This is the top play, I believe.
Yeah, so this is specifically, like, you can understand why Fnatic is going for this play, because they're thinking that Xiaohu has been someone that they've been able to pick on pretty much this whole series, but then specifically Noah burning ult, cleanse, and flash, and immediately Weibo say, this is our moment, let's just start. Another point is that Aphelios had an early game build. Chronicler was bringing this up. He had the Collector completed at this point, so they just kind of bait a Baron fight, and if they win this fight, their season stays alive, and likely they just win the game off of it.
Yeah.
And the thing was, you didn't even have to burn those summoner spells on top side. Noah messes up the cleanse on the Maokai ult coming in, which means that he actually just gets caught by the Maokai ult anyway. He's then nervous about the flash coming through from the Gnar, so he has to burn his own flash to make sure he doesn't go down, because that would have spelled Baron for Weibo as well. So it's unfortunate those like back-to-back misplays then end up giving Weibo that opportunity to go for this. And I think it's just incredibly sad, because at the get-go, they'd kind of avoided a lot of these fights for Fnatic. They were playing for these picks, but the second you make that mistake, that's when Weibo were able to come back into it.
Bit of a ticking time bomb. Aphelios, let's talk about him. Let's talk about him. He had a great debut in Heartsteel as well, and he's stealing my heart. And then just
he's reminding us why he's been like the best AD carry of the past 4 years. But let's figure out where it's going in these drafts. Because we have the game 1 and 2 draft, I believe, and it's not like he's going immediately. In fact, he's been a counter in both situations. So in the game 1 draft here, you can see the Renato was picked first by Weibo on the red side, which basically is signaling that they don't necessarily care the most about Aphelios. Then Orianna Aphelios is locked in. But then you go to game 2, and it's actually Callista makes it through the bans. So therefore, Aphelios can go over to Weibo on the other side. I think that paradigm needs to shift. So rather than picking a Callista here or necessarily a Renata Poppy here, since this game 1 draft is more what we need to work off of, since Fnatic is going to be going back to blue side.
Yeah.
I think either Fnatic has to pick Aphelios here Because Weibo's going to pick it on the 1-2 if they don't decide to ban it early on. That's the thing that I'm going to be watching for in this final game 3 draft.
It's like you made a face with a tear. I don't know what that spells. But.
I think the fact that you are moving over to the blue side is massive for Fnatic. I think, one, you open up the Xayah ban, which means that you don't have to ban it away. You can actually ban the Kalista and then go for the Aphelios yourself, which makes things easier. Also, I just really didn't like that Rel flex.
Nope.
I think if you're going to take Kalista, you need to play an aggressive lane that enables her. But because you end up in a matchup where it's range versus melee, you're not able to exploit the Kalista as much as you would like in that bot side, and you end up in a position there where, what we saw, you're 20 CS down from the get-go, even with the early kill that had gone across the Kalista. I think there's so many mistakes that Fnatic had made on the red side and also got exposed a little bit themselves because they needed to take the Kalista. Coming back to blue side, I think you can shore a lot of that up and make things a little bit easier.
Yeah, as they go into this, of course, now both teams find themselves on match point, but nothing really changes because you're on the brink of elimination or the brink of qualification. The pressure could not be higher, and it has not been this high for either of these teams in this World Championship yet. We talked about kind of the clutches that Fnatic has been able to do in the past, but I add on to that a team that has some players, the Xiaohu, the Shy, that have done tremendous things in their career as well.
Well, they did beat the Shy Aatrox. They made European history in Game 1. But I'd say last year wasn't it for Fnatic, but they've had so many moments where when they can make a run on the final day to qualify for bracket stage, they have. 2017, they were 0-4 and made it. 2018, they beat IG twice to get the 1 seed. 2019, they 3-0'd the day against Clutch, T1, and RNG. So based on that history, this wouldn't even be that historic, but it definitely is a lot of pressure.
What I'm looking for from Fnatic is a draft that can actually team fight. I think that in the previous game, they were kind of hamstrung in way of what they were getting. Obviously, Aphelios is the pick we've talked about most, but any team fighting composition that still provides you with some power in the mid game is, I think, something that Fnatic is going to be happy with, given how well and controlled Game 1 looked.
And I think it is control that bot side for Fnatic. If you can control Light, you control a lot of what Weibo want to do. We've seen Weibo consistently go for 3 camps. We're going to dive bot, try and set up for Light. And I think Light kind of gets overshadowed in the LPL because you've got so many insane AD carries that come out of this region. But Light is an incredibly strong AD carry. We've seen him when he was on LNG, would step up massively alongside Iwandi. Now we're getting to see it on Weibo. Like, this is a guy that, when given resources, can carry, and you need to stop that from happening here.
And I think we've been clouded a little bit because the whole year, if you've been watching the LPL, you just get frustrated because they don't show their full potential, and that has been the story of Weibo. Pound for pound, all these players are amazing and have the highest highs, maybe, I'm not going to say bar none, but that's a lie, but very, very high highs. It doesn't often come together. It would be really unfortunate for Fnatic if this is the game that it all does.
It would, because the mid jungle has been bad for Weibo.
And usually
Xiaohu is a 3-time MSI champion, but has never actually won the championship at Worlds. He's been to 7 Worlds, yet it seems like the pressure is getting to him more now than ever before. Humanoid has always been a huge performer on the international stage.
Put that sign away. Put that sign away.
Do a Baron flip.
No.
That's possibly what this is going to come down to, because if we don't get an Aphelios diff, it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, I mean, just going off of Jazz's point, though, like, kind of going back to Xiaohu, it's like Spring belonged to Xiaohu and RNG in the LPL. It was Summer always belonged to EDG. Now, EDG didn't end up making it in the end, and it kind of feels like the time has shifted over towards JDG. But Xiaohu, it really feels like he needs to step up now on this world stage. He hasn't done it before, and if you can control that mid-jungle, it makes things 10 times easier for Weibo.
Who will it be? Who's going to step up in this final game for either Fnatic or Weibo with a spot in the quarterfinal on the line, or you go home? Take it away, Medivedi.
Thank you very much, Shox. And what a series we've had so far. Convincing game 2 from Weibo, convincing game 1 from Fnatic. You know, to put it out there, it was very strong for both teams. Haven't really had that sort of mid-late game, both teams kind of winning fights battle as of yet. I'm hoping for it in game 3, I'm going to be honest.
This Aphelios is what I'm curious about.
Yeah.
Where is it on the priority list for both these teams?
I think if you're a Fnatic fan, it's on Fnatic's side. And if you're a Weibo fan, it's probably on Weibo's side.
So, what do we know? Weibo highly prioritizes the Renata.
Yep.
They've also shown that they're willing to first pick the Orianna. Fnatic highly value a good mid lane matchup.
Sure.
And a lot of pressure has been put on Xiaohu. Individually, he's not having an amazing series, but he's having his moments.
Yeah.
So Fnatic's plan is to try and to take Xiaohu off of his comfort and put the responsibility of carrying on other members of Weibo, which I think overall can be an effective strategy. Now they just need to refine it by making sure that they can give themselves strong team fighting. And Weibo need to limit Razork's impact. So they need to find ways to mitigate what he can do in the early game. And the way in which Fnatic is trying to do that is through either having a winning jungle matchup in the form of Lee Sin into Maokai, or by having a pushing bot lane 2 versus 2. So, with all that in mind, what will the first pick be? My speculation is Fnatic will still continue to prioritize things like the Orianna. I imagine Weibo will actually let that through in exchange for something like the Renata Maokai once again. The question then becomes, how will Fnatic deal with it? Or will they just, so there it is. There's the adaptation. The Renata is being banned away and not the Maokai.
Or the Kalista, which is what Fnatic banned the first time they were on the
But I don't think Fnatic care about it.
I agree. I'm just, compared to game 1,
That's fair.
that is the change, right? The Jarvan, Maokai, Xayah were Weibo's bans in game 1. Instead, the Orianna, now they're lock away. So where do Fnatic go first? Is it just Aphelios?
I mean,
Lock it in!
I would like that. I think it's a good first pick, personally. And they're going to do it. All right, so they've said, you know what, Noah, you're so far at this tournament, this has been your best champion. You talked about some stats earlier from his Aphelios. How many games has he lost this year on the champion?
Well, he's now played 17 games and lost 4.
He's only lost 4 games. So.
And I will say, Noah, something we saw in the LEC playoffs was he does get quite nervous, or at least he did then, before games, and he'd talk about it on Twitter afterwards, giving him something he has been comfortable on at Worlds and he has experience on can alleviate some of those nerves.
Now you open up Xiaohu's Azir.
Yep.
So you've taken a gamble. You've taken a pretty big gamble because while a lot of your priority has been limiting the impact of mid lane, it is now being given back to him.
Yep.
One of his best performing champions. It's a scary thing to go up against. Already this team fight power of Weibo is looking strong. Are they really gonna, I mean, I do quite like Sylas and what they're showing. It also kind of pushes the idea of an Alistar as well.
Alistar, yeah, 100% agree with that. And now that is where Humanoid is going. He has had some pop-off performances on the Sylas throughout his career. Is it enough for game 3? Yes. Humanoid
and just lock in.
I was Sejuani, yeah.
Locked it in before I could speculate. I was like, yeah, just great champion with melee champions, the Sejuani. But yeah, does make sense. Go back to what works for you in game 1.
So
now, you don't. I don't think you match. I think you can lock in top pair if you want. You can grab yourself something like the Cassante. You can then actually. Well, you have 2 choices. You can actually limit the top pool, but I don't think that matters. I think that if you're Weibo, you should consider pinching the support.
It's a toughie. It's a toughie because Trimby is so comfortable on so many different supports. We haven't seen much Rakan priority at all.
Well, I think Weibo is going to counterpick support regardless. So if you're going to counterpick, why would you limit the support pool?
True.
Unless there were things that you really don't want to have to deal with or you really don't want paired up alongside an Aphelios. Something like Emilio wouldn't surprise me. The Nautilus is something that they've consistently banned throughout the series, so they're going to keep that ban going up.
I mean, Nautilus Sejuani also very strong if you can get early skirmishes. You have multiple different routes. You have multiple different forms of CC. It can be very tricky for people to get away from that.
I wonder if they're worried about Oscar's Jax, or if they're saying, we have the Shy. Yeah. Is it a situation where you sit there and go, matchup-wise, Jax could be a problem and something that we're a little bit worried about?
I mean, it's possible. But as you say, it is the Shy. Although his game 1 was a little disappointing from his fans' point of view, his game 2 was absolutely exceptional. He does have a lot of games on Cassante as well, his 6th most played throughout the course of his career. Oscar on Jax is something we've seen him bring out a few times, but not something I would say he dominates on too regularly. The Poppy, the ban for Weibo.
I feel like this might be a Zeri pick for Weibo, I mean, the Poppy, that respect is being shown to Oscar. He demonstrated against Bin. Okay, they're taking away the Jinx, but I think the Zeri is a bigger threat for Light.
2nd most played this summer.
I wouldn't love a Kai'Sa here from Weibo. I think that it's too short range and it goes in. Caitlyn is another great one. Caitlyn Zeri, long range, strong team fighting, good zone control. The traps combined with the soldiers, combined with the Maokai. A lot of space being generated and also still gives you a powerful 2v2 bot lane.
Also gives you the push often in the bottom lane because the enemy can't step up. Does depend what support you...
Yeah, the supports are going to be really important here. With Nautilus taken away, what are you thinking of? Because Melio looks great right now for Weibo.
Okay.
Oscar's Olaf. I'm trying... Do you remember the last time he played it? Because No shot. Nah, no way. There's no way Fnatic is going to do that. He's hovering it. He's thinking about it, but surely not. I think it's way too ambitious against the Caitlyn.
Oscar brought out the Olaf against Heretics in LEC Summer. Did it in groups in spring as well. Has won every game he's played on it this year. I will say, played against Mad Lions, Astralis, and Heretics. The Shy, slightly stronger competition.
True.
And Lux Caitlyn gives you so much push in the bottom lane.
I liked everything else more than the Alistair.
Saying Hilly and Mickey have set the expectation. Okay?
I mean, that is a terrifying bot lane. Caitlyn Lux. It's something that Europe has never been good at.
Yeah.
Or
good at playing against as well.
They come to international competition and they get bullied. Don't get me wrong, if that bot lane loses a flash, then it's a lane that you can easily play around, but
they have to absorb a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's going to be so hard. And so the thing is, Weibo, what I think would be smart for them is a delayed invade bot sides and try and split the map.
Yep.
Like completely isolate Noah and Trimby and mitigate Razork's impact on the bot side of the map. Even if the Shy gets bullied, even if he goes 0-4, the question then becomes, do you think that an Olaf is strong enough to 1v9 the game? And could they even get Oscar in ahead enough that he could even do that?
And what a weight on Oscar's shoulders that would be as well in his first Worlds, his first international.
So I like the adaptations that Weibo have made. I think that they've got a really good long-range composition. They feel like that it's going to come down to the team fights once again. Their front to back, again, is very strong. They've got so much zone control. And while Razork has had some great early games, he's going to have to find a way to unlock this bot lane for Fnatic. A lot of responsibility falls on Razork, as it has this series. We're jumping into game 3.
One more time into the breach, my friends. Weibo and Fnatic fighting for a spot in the top 8 at the World Championships. On to Summoners Rift we go. And I can hear the heartbeats in Europe from here, Betty. No one under 150. Fnatic pushing out, guarding that bottom side of the map. Sometimes we see an Olaf look for an early invade as well. The undertow can do so much for you. I think Fnatic expecting the bot side invade are setting up. Now they dash forward. Everyone was ready to collapse, but no one there from Weibo. They've just set up their lines of scrimmage. The Shy will walk in, place a ward. There's one in Pixel Bush as well from Weiwei. Razork's early pathing here will be tracked. If Oscar does look to invade, he'll be marked as well. It looks like Razork might be going forward, seeing maybe if they want that ward, maybe also they just want to make sure that Weibo weren't looking for something sneaky on the top side.
Minions have spawned.
There's still, before the storm to come, one of these teams will end their year. The other will move on to the quarterfinals. It's been a while since Europe has seen Fnatic in those quarters. Top Esports was their last best of 5, and they were so close to victory.
Started with success, Betty.
And Weibo, I mean, formerly Suning, of course, world finalists. A very different roster then to what we have now. But Weibo making it to the international stage and wanting to do LPL proud. All 4 seeds still in the tournament for the LPL. If all 4 were to qualify, I'm pretty sure this would be the first time ever in LPL's history that they got all 4 out into the quarters.
Often there is that one sacrifice.
There's always the one. Oh, and already the damage is being dealt. Like, what can Alistair do in this lane, man? It is absolute misery. They signed up for this. And now look at the zone that's going to come out from Crisp. The harassment continues. Pushing lane top, pushing lane bot. Top side clear from Razork.
Humanoid looking to trade in the mid lane.
Nice
Look at Shahu low. No ignite on the Silas, though. Expected that he runs the TP, so just trading forward on his bot lane, struggling to even step forward in the lane. Oscar in here, pushed under the tower by the Shy early on.
Now, this Olaf will be difficult to deal with late into the game. Like, no one can stop it. That's the whole point of his ultimate. If he gets strong enough, he can just deal with a Caitlyn. Absolutely zero problem. And there's nothing that a Lux can do to protect that, right? Zero utility unless they're able to land that binding. And again, against an Olaf, that won't be a problem. But in this laning phase, it's just it's relentless. Just look at the poke. They're already going to get themselves a plate.
You can see Trimby running the DMAT as well, knowing they're always going to be pushed in. Doesn't want to have to step forward for those cannon minions, so just DMATs tries to get Prio back. They're never going to manage it, but every small inch you can take back in a lane where the enemy's taking miles is always a bonus. Light and Crisp, though, doing exactly what the Doctor ordered for Weibo. Getting bot Prio has been so important through this series, and it allows Weiwei just that extra bit of safety. As Razork spots him out with the Scryer's Bloom. Oscar trading with the Shy. Shy has, and Tofu strikes, can knock back Oscar here, holding it. Knock up just wide as Oscar puts on his dancing shoes for a second.
Oh, he misses the bring back. He's trying to bring him underneath the tower. Oscar gets a nice trade.
That's Q3 again. Oscar needs to be careful.
Low on mana there. Yeah. But both top laners just skirting on the edge. The Shy trying to set up a bit of a freeze. And bottom crab secured for Razork. He's getting a bit of information. He'll find the respawn of the Raptors, and he should be able to steal those away, so great awareness there from him.
It's also, Weiwei decided to shadow Crisp and Light to make sure they weren't getting ganked, so he was in the bot side bush, allowing Razork that little bit of extra time. The Light binding into Lucent Singularity, once again finding Noah and Trimby. Crisp running a little bit lower on mana, but I believe he pops a biscuit and he'll be okay.
Credit to Humanoid, he's also winning in this 1v1 matchup. I guess the Hail of Blades not coming out from the... Oh my god, look at it. It's just...
If you step forward, you get light binding, you then get trapped, and you're done for. So Noah has to step back through the Lucent Singularity there. It's going to be 2 plates as well. They know Razork was on the top side of the map a little while ago. No vision on him now, but Light and Crisp have the safety of a Tri-Bush ward. They have the safety of Xiaohu moving forward to ward around the Razorbeaks as well. And they are safe as houses down here with a 13 CS lead already.
Like, you can see how difficult it is for Noah to even hit the bottom CS, because Light is standing on top of them, and if you try to get in range to auto them, they're just going to harass you back. It's such an oppressive bot lane 2 versus 2, and already, what's that, 600, 700 gold lead being built up for Weibo just off the back of these plates in the bottom lane, and the constant harassment. Relatively healthy for Noah, but he's going to need to go back to base soon, and that base is going to be the hardest thing to get. You can see once again Weiwei hovering around the bot side of the map.
Oscar trading. Pathmaker from the Shy, looking for the Q3, gets the knock-up shield from Oscar. Will keep him okay for the moment. Razork spotted on a ward. Weiwei not the same, as he's managed to sneak his way in towards this bottom side. As always, the point of weakness for a Caitlyn Lux lane is after you've pushed this initial pressure, getting ganked on the 5, 6, 7 minute timer, which is why Weiwei is so often shadowing them, even to the detriment of his own jungle clear. But Crisp and Light have done a really good job of cycling through their vision. This Tri-Bush always warded by a 5-second gap between the vision that they have kept themselves, allowing them so much more safety. Because Trimby can always look for the taxi, headbutt a minion, flash Q, or Q flash.
Yeah, just really good vision overall from Weibo. Keeping track of where Razork is, what he's up to. Yeah, he's built up a pretty big advantage jungle camp-wise, but frankly, it doesn't matter. Weibo knows that as long as they keep this Caitlyn healthy, they are chilling. The tower siege, the team fight threat they're going to have the longer this game goes on. And again, that's not to say that Fnatic don't have options in the team fights. We talked about this Olaf. This Aphelios can still be a threat. It's just about how strong are you when you get there. Yeah. And right now, this bot lane is struggling for Fnatic.
This world's so often defined by which AD carry is stronger in a fight as well. We have seen so many times fights turned on their heads, even Noah turning a fight on his head with a Moonlight Vigil Cataclysm combination against C9. Saw it in game 1, saw it in game 2. Oscar scaling up though. Trimby spotted on a ward, and the vision control from Weibo has actually been exceptional. Pull back, Ragnarok used it, but Oscar can't follow that any further. Was worried about the all-out combo. Glacial Prison used in the mid lane as Xiaohu is caught out, but he gets the knockback under the tower. Humanoid flashes away, Xiaohu with the shield, and Humanoid tanking the tower will fall! Xiaohu outplays the 2v1 in mid.
Xiaohu's Azir, he responds perfectly, throws the ultimate out. Humanoid takes a second, he double backs, thinking that he can get one last tick of damage in, but he can't, and he pays the price.
And you can see the damage that comes out if you're hit with a light binding into the snap trap. That's another plate going down as well as Noah tries to step forward. Good graviton for the root, but the Piltover Peacemaker comes out, and I don't think Light and Crisp have any mind to peace. They want war in this bottom lane, and Weiwei is here to facilitate it. Instead, he'll take the red, seal away the camps as the Rift Herald is being secured, but Light now with the ace in the hole, and ace in his pocket. There's the flash combo we talked about. The taxi flashed away by Light. Incredible reactions. Graviton gonna come down on Crisp, but Humanoid is trying to make his way down here as well. Flash is burnt from Light and Crisp, but they will be able to dance their way to safety. Ace in the hole, tanked by Trimby, down to 100 HP. Dancing on the edge of death, the brink of the abyss. Able to survive, and now does have that unbreakable will as well, but what an unbreakable spirit Fnatic will need to survive this bot lane barrage.
This tower's going to take so much
He's
damage.
dead!
Oh, and they snipe him. Trimby can't pop the ultimate in time. Crisp finds it, and look at how quickly this game feels like it's falling apart for Fnatic. Razork is not finding anything on the map right now. This tower is falling apart in the bot lane. Zhao, who gained so much off of that roam from Humanoid as well. Weibo are poised to end this series in convincing fashion.
And this is how you play an early game lead. Light and Crisp so far ahead, almost double CS in that bottom lane, and Noah and Trimby an expected deficit, but they have been found wanting. Can Razork find something, or Trimby in fact find something in the mid lane? Xiaohu kept his flash through the dive underneath the tower earlier on, so he has that to survive any further aggression. A 2,000 gold lead now for Weibo.
And the Merc Treads picked up for Xiaohu means that that risk is so much lower of him getting ganked. And again, you see this jungle discrepancy, but it doesn't matter. So much vision has been invested early by Weibo to keep track of what was going on, where Razork was.
So Razork did walk over a ward as he came across.
But he tried to make it fast, like it didn't matter. And look at this hesitation. A Humanoid like double backs.
Yep.
And if he'd kept walking, there's a good chance he makes it out. Now who's in danger here? It's Crisp.
Has been caught out, has no flash, remember, but Weiwei is on his way as Razork tried to flash, but Crisp puts on an absolute clinic. He dances away from death. The final spark, a final dagger through the heart of Fnatic, perhaps, as Trimby now in the meat grinder, but Noah's on his way. The Moonlight Vigil comes up short as Weiwei able to dance away as well. Weibo get out, they lose one, but it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Weibo, I mean, that's not a bad trade for them. Yes, they lost Crisp, but I mean, it was actually Crisp that ended up getting the kill. I guess depending on your perspective, could be a good thing. He is building AP.
Yep.
Weibo hold on to the gold lead for now. Well, looking back at the snipe that happened. Oh, well, we're going back quite a ways now. Trimby not even level 6 yet. And the snipe that comes through. If Trimby had popped the ultimate, maybe he would have had enough resistance to survive. Oh, actually, I think he tried to pop it
right
there,
at the end, just
but the animation not quite fast enough.
Yeah, you can see him pressing the R there.
He's frustrated. This game is falling apart very quickly for Fnatic. The TP comes in from Humanoid. He's trying his best to work with Razork to look for something. The chain CC, but Weiwei and Xiaohu quick to collapse themselves. Weiwei roots up Humanoid, prevents him from getting anywhere near him. The Humanoid ultimate stolen. Crisp gets that kill. And Weibo's then forced to retreat, seeing that Noah gets to the fight earlier. The ultimate from Noah not quite in range, means that they don't have the damage. But the game state doesn't really change here. The damage continues to come through from Weibo's bot lane, 111 CS. Chip, chip, chip. Cannon will be secured there by Noah. And Razork just doing his best to cover, resisting the potential dive.
But still, the vision control from Weibo allows them the luxury to step up this far in the lane. You can see Oscar starting to win some trades against the Shy, but you don't really want to dive. The Ragnarok can be extended a little bit, but as it expires, you don't want to be in danger of being pulled back underneath that tower. Xiaohu extending his lead in mid lane as well, 20 CS up. The Shy has flash.
Also has ult. He has the damage to get the kill here. No TP for Oscar with his back being interrupted. The Shy rather can push that underneath the tower. Hell being spawned mid. Not optimal here. Weibo should be able to stop this. They're going to.
Razork coming in, but he's going to get locked up, and Weiwei can look for more. Instead decides to go for the tower. Humanoid shuffles him back, and the tree is going timber in the mid lane as Fnatic able to find one, get their second on the board. The Rift-Held Eye is open though, and Weibo can still look to deny the charge. Lucent Singularity doing a little bit of work. Trimby trying to push this forward. Humanoid locked up. Trimby going in. Xiaohu no flash, but the shuffle back as Humanoid tanks and Humanoid falls. And the damage now lacking for Fnatic. They'll get the charge in, but it's that enough for them as Trimby continues to trade, but Xiaohu has had enough of this. Get the hell out of his mid lane. He finds two, and Light finds another in the bottom lane. It's 3 for Weibo in mid.
Fnatic are collapsing everywhere. 4 kills quickly picked up for Weibo. And Xiaohu's Azir, something that has been kept away from him this series, finally returns to his hands, and he finds himself with a 3-0-2 scoreline. The bot lane tower, 600 gold for Light. Fnatic are crumbling under the pressure of Weibo.
And the darkness starts to encroach for Fnatic. What can you do from here? 4,500 gold behind. Your towers now falling. They will fall quicker as the plates are lost. A 700 gold deficit in terms of just plates. But everywhere on the map, Weibo are ahead. The only saving grace is top lane is even. That's about it. And Razok has 1,000 gold lead, but when you look at that lane economy snapshot from MasterCard, the bot side of the map is a disaster zone for Fnatic and delight for Weibo.
I mean, it's a 2-level lead. Humanoid's about to get level 10, but the experience difference in mid is massive, and now Light is unlocked on the map. He can start just taking these towers completely uncontested. They chose this bot lane matchup with the Alistar. They knew they were playing into Caitlyn, and I thought that they would have answers, but they had nothing. Weibo have just oppressed them from start to finish, and whatever they tried to do to Xiaohu, they just could not lock him down. Now the Herald has begun. Oscarinin and the Shy maybe getting involved in the fight.
TP coming in as well from Humanoid. He looks to join the fight. Xiaohu TPing in as well as the objective is secured. The Rift-Held taken down. Humanoid was looking for Crispy. He can't quite get in. Weiwei flashing away as the Ragnarok tries to get to the backline, and Weiwei falls to Olaf. The Shy pulls Noah back, but now he's separated from the rest of the team. Olaf gets 2. A shutdown for Oscar. And the ace in the hole flashed away as Noah heals up with a Severum. Trimby now is going to get the knock on the Shy. What a fight! What a moment, a brief glimpse of light, perhaps, at the end of a dark, dark tunnel for Fnatic.
I mean, it's 3 kills and a Herald. Oscarinin proving how this Olaf can be a threat in the fights. The CC is not enough to keep him chained down. We're going to look back at this kill in the bot lane. Oh, the headshot into the crit, into the kill. Nicely done there by Light. But looking back at this fight, look at the positioning of Oscarinin. You see him skirmishing with the Shy at the top. Weiwei's going to be forced out of the fight very quickly. Humanoid going to steal away the Maokai ultimate. No. Yes, he does. He steals away the ultimate, comes through.
Humanoid now caught, though.
Yeah, he's dead.
Headshots from Light. Taking heads, taking names.
They can't afford to make those mistakes. That was a massive play that they found. I believe the Herald was dropped top, so they did get a bit of gold back. The deficit not quite as dramatic as earlier.
It's still 2,500.
It's still 2,500.
Weibo still very much in control of this game. A momentum swing, but not a momentum shift over these last few moments. Xiaohu now Nash's Tooth complete, almost at his second item. In an incredibly powerful position, and towers basically forfeit when you're against an Azir Caitlyn in this sort of power in the mid game. Razok trying to come in from the side here, but Weiwei and Crisp are here to defend their mid laner. I think Xiaohu, after a disappointing performance against Mad Lions in game 1, a disappointing performance in this game as well, has once again shown why so often he is amongst the best on the world stage.
Look back at this fight once more. Nice stuff there from Oscarinin, getting access onto the backline. And the fact that he trades it is that shield comes back, the sustain as well.
Honey fruit as well.
That's the terrifying thing about this Olaf. If he gets strong enough, he can do a nice flash there from Noah. That could have gone very wrong, but he does get away with his life. But Fnatic showing that their teeth are still sharp. They're not completely down and out yet. Light, though, continues to be a nuisance for Fnatic.
It's kind of why it was nerfed on the current patch. Your ability just to fire an ace in the hole on a relatively short cooldown means the enemy AD carry or any enemy squishy is half HP before the fight really begins. And Light using it to full effectiveness here. Weibo gaining control of the bottom side of the map with a minute on the Drake. It would be their third soul point. You wonder if Fnatic will decide to fight over a Chemtech Drake, often left as one of the less impactful Drakes, but when fights are close, and when you have an Olaf as well, if you can get that Chem Soul, it can be very powerful in the right hands. Cassante as well uses it to full effectiveness.
Weibo doing a good job of controlling this bot side of the map vision, just using crisps and Weiwei's kit to check all of these brushes, make sure that they're safe, forces Fnatic out of any potential picks. Anyone that, well, knows League of Legends, knows of the Fnatic brush. You think it's one, but it's all of them. They'll do it anywhere. But not today. Weibo will deny that. Dragon spawn 24 seconds. And you imagine that this one will be largely uncontested. That tower won't fall. Okay. Second item, the third one being worked on for Light. 2 items completed for Xiaohu. The power spikes are just there for Weibo and Fnatic. If they want to fight now, it would be pretty insane. But it seems unlikely with the power that Weibo is currently sitting on. Weibo want this dragon, they want this fight, they have TPs on the Shy. Same for Humanoids. But this chip damage as well that's going to keep coming out from Chris.
Shy looking for Humanoid as well.
Look at how tanky
Although
he is.
Oscar probably wins that matchup, I'm not sure Humanoid does, sitting on only the Leandries and a couple of components. TP now in by the Shy. Fnatic trying to get the mid priority so they can then work around. Still vision behind them, they were unable to clear that all out, and now with the Shy as a front man leading the Phalanx. Weibo have to look to see if they can catch out Fnatic. Fnatic do get mid prio for the moment, but the Shy waiting in this bush will be able to deny them more. Final spark takes Trimby down to half. He still has that unbreakable will. Razork looking for someone. Xiaohu, the target. Glacial Prism hits, and they all flash forward, but Xiaohu flashes away, and the Light Binding finds 2. Nature Scars coming out from either side as they try to get onto the backline. The Ragnarok is not enough as Weiwei kills off Oscar in, and Light able to flash away towards the top side as well, and now it's all on Noah, but he's pulled back with the all out, and Weibo are all in. They find 2. Razork running for the hills as Humanoid dives forward, but Crisp still survives. Xiaohu down 3 for naught in favor of Weibo, almost 4 as Noah tries to step in, make it 4, make it more as Weibo turn their eyes to Baron.
Everyone walks away alive, blinking health bars, but it is enough. The snipe from Crisp will not find Razork, and Fnatic are left with little. Light came so close to death, but he flashes away. Xiaohu the same. Those summoners providing all that they need. You see the initial health bars, the engage looks promising for Fnatic. A very quick response from Xiaohu gets him to safety. The return engage from Humanoid, but it's Oscar Rinnin alone. The peel is good enough. Light flashes away on the side, and then with everyone now safe, they can play the front to back, they can play the chase down. The Shy locking up Noah, getting his summoner spells.
So much as well.
Just a fantastic fight all across the board from Weibo.
Crisp hit every binding in that. When Fnatic engage, he finds 2. When Light's running away, he finds Trimby to stop him getting the chase down. And Weibo just play the fight perfectly.
It feels like the final nail in the coffin for Fnatic. These fights, if they had a little more gold, maybe they could have swung differently. You could see how close the damage was, but those spikes were different. Maybe Fnatic should have waited a little longer. But that's all hindsight now. Level 14, Caitlyn knocking on the doors of Fnatic's base.
With the Baron buff remaining, this Red Bull Baron power play continues for the next 2 minutes, and Fnatic, do you just give up the inhib? They'll mount a defense, but with Humanoid in top, you have to feel the defense won't last for long. The final spark again. The final light extinguished from Fnatic. Noah forced back to base. Their inhibitor tower brought to its knees. The team brought to its knees in the face of Weibo. The Shy finds Trimby again. And Weibo continue to find their man. Trimby locked up, has to pop the unbreakable will. Oscar in trying to defend at the Nexus Towers here as Humanoid is going to stop his base. They are giving up double inhibitors, but will they give it all? Weibo continues to push in. The cannon minion there as the Shy can tank, but the cannon minion won't get in range. Humanoid still looking for that objective bounty. A bounty albeit small, might be
I don't know if
something for Fnatic, and I agree, Betty. I don't know if they can hold. The Glacial Prism finds Chris, but he's able to survive. The Ragnarok comes out, the Moonlight Vigil does nothing as Weibo continue to advance, and now perhaps they take a moment, they retreat, but Light says no. He steps back forward, has that red for the slow, and the Nexus towers begin to be brought to the ground. The engage from Razork, Noah trying to do what he can as the Shy is forced down towards the bottom side. Tremby down as he looks for an engage. The Shy goes all out, and Noah has a brief moment of light here. Xiaohu goes in with the Emperor's Divide. Noah has red, white, great guns for the fight. Oscar Rinning getting forward, but Chris has the stopwatch, and Light has his man again. Ace in the hole, a dagger through the heart of Fnatic. They've been doubted, they've been denied, and they've been discarded. But Weibo smoke the doubters.
A clean game 3 from Weibo. They knew exactly how to deal with Fnatic's comfort. They saw that Aphelios lock in, and they respond with Xiaohu's Azia and Light's Caitlyn. Two incredible performances. Weibo with the better team fighting, and another LPL team will join their brothers in the quarterfinals.
Just one more to go for the LPL. BLG knocking on the door as well. Fnatic put up a good fight game 1.
A valiant effort.
Probably the best I've seen them play, maybe this year.
Definitely one of their best performances. It gave hope to the European fans. There was optimism, but at the final hurdle, they could not make the jump. Big shout out to Razork. Fnatic has had a very difficult year overall, but this man has come up clutch so many times for the organization, helped bring them here.
And they take about.
It will be a frustrating loss for these players. They knew that they were close. They were optimistic that they could do more, but they could not do it. It was Weibo's day today. They will move forward to the quarterfinals.
And they're back amongst the best.
And they're back amongst the best.
Obviously, commiserations to Fnatic. It hits hard, especially getting that close with game 1 being such a convincing performance, but Weibo did it all. You know, Oppo player of the series, Light, he had an incredible performance. The Aphelios, the Caitlyn in games 2 and 3, the reason the team did so well. We'll give credit to Crisp as well. He really performed in that final game and across the course of the series, obviously.
I mean, all good AD carries are a product of their supports, right? I mean, but he really was so incredible in the fights. His positioning continued to be perfect, and just the way in which he played the lane in the bot lane was fantastic. Great stuff from him, great stuff from the bot lane of Weibo. And this is a bot lane that you'll have to keep your eyes on moving forward in the tournament. A lot of very strong AD carries, and he just adds his list to the names.
His name to the list, in fact?
Name to the list, that
and
one.
The thing is, he's getting another list, right? Because he, like Yagami, he's got his Death Note ready.
True.
He's already crossed off Noah. Who's next is the question. We'll find out in the draw show after the G2 BLG series. Those quarterfinals still up in the air. And again, Fnatic tried their best. Oscar as well in that game, impressive. Did exactly what he needed to do, especially in his
It wasn't a
rookie
game
split.
about top lane, right? It was all about the bot lanes, and credit to Noah, he did what he could. But Weibo came out on top.
Yep, and they did. And as we gear up for the final series of Worlds 2023 Swiss stage, in fact, let's check out some behind-the-scenes pictures of yesterday's action through the eyes of the Oppo Cam.
How do we keep holding on? Lights flicker from afar. I'd rather stay in the dark if I'm with you. I don't need the world. Keep me close, safe and sound. More than two is a crowd when I'm with you. Time is passing, it knows no manners. I'm finding comfort and hope. Time left to pack it up. On the brink of a brand new age, better buckle up. Hey, oh, let's go, have you had enough? It's coming like the fire and rain. When it's over, they will know my name. I'm alive. Come to life in the lights tonight. I was crawling through the ashes just to cross the line. Now I'm standing in the fire on the other side. I'm alive. Wind up tight, then I let it go. Light it up loud, come and get the smoke. It's system overload, flying way too high like an overdose. Time to lock and load, it's all systems go. Pressure breaking down the dam to stop the moving through. I'm alive. Come to life in the lights tonight. I was crawling through the ashes just to cross the line. Now I'm standing in the fire on the other side. I'm alive. I'm alive. I was crawling through the ashes just to cross the line. Now I'm standing in the fire on the other side. I'm alive. I'm alive. Come to life in the lights tonight. I was crawling through the ashes just to cross the line. Now I'm standing in the fire on the other side. I'm alive. I'm alive. What's your play?
And welcome back to the backstage area for the Verizon post-game interview. Here joined by Xiaohu, who just took down Fnatic, and with this victory will make it to the quarterfinals. Thank you so much for joining me. Ni hao. I want to talk about the game 3 and the approach you took here. Long-range poke composition. Why did you think it was the best choice to take down Fnatic?
首先恭喜你们获得了本场比赛胜利，成功的挺进到了8强。想问一下，在第3局你们为什么会选择这样一个相对长手的 poke 阵容，而且为什么觉得说这样是最有效击倒 Fnatic 的一个阵容呢？
因为首先红色方我们的辅助是可以后出的嘛，然后在下路可以拿到一定的优势，然后我们下路组合也玩得特别好，然后我认为我们第一盘的阵容选的有点过于着急了，所以第3盘选一个发育打团的英雄是一个不错的选择。
Because during the pick and ban phase, we can choose our support champion later, and also our bot duo performed really well through the champions as well. So I think in game 1, we locked in our composition to rush, so we decided to play more scaling champion and more scaling composition in game 3.
It's definitely the best approach here. You just mentioned game 1. I want to follow up on this because you had a difficult game 1, being honest here, and you managed to bounce back so well in the rest of the series, which is not surprising given your experience. But can you talk me through the mental process to get back on track? And did you feel pressured coming into this series, Xiaohu?
因为其实你也刚刚提到了第一局，其实第一局可能对于你来讲打的确实不是特别的顺利，但是能够看到你在后面的一个表现是非常出彩的。当然，这跟你本身的一个经验丰富也有很大的一个关系。但是还是很想问一下，你在第一局之后做了怎样的一个心态调整？包括说你的一个心态是怎样趋于稳定，去让后面的比赛进行这么顺利呢？
因为第一局虽然输了，但我就是可能更多的认为我们在红色方的 BP 给到了对面就是版本 T1 的发条，但是我们没有就是做比较有效的交换，然后导致后边阵容就是打起来比较乏力，所以我并不认为是我们的实力有问题，所以后边的话心态也可以放平常去打。
So in game 1, we did give the Orianna, which is the tier 1 champion in this current meta, to the anime team, but we didn't manage to have a very good trade instead. So I would say the reason that we lost game 1 is not our skills or not our performance. As a team, to be honest. So I think as long as we can play in the upcoming games, we can still fight back.
Not doubting this at all, of course, and focusing a bit more on the upcoming games. You qualified for quarterfinals. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about the teams that you may have to face off against? Gen.G, T1, JDG, or NNG?
那现在你们也已经进入到了8强，所以说当提到可能要面对的队伍，比如说 Gen.G、京东、T1，然后 NRG 这些队伍，所有的队伍当这些名字出现在你脑海里的时候，你第一反应是什么呢？
感觉就是都是很熟悉的对手吧，然后因为我们是3个2级的嘛，也没有选择的权利，就是调整好自己的状态去打就好了。
They're all very familiar names, I would say. We didn't stand a choice to really select our opponents. So yeah, just play our own game, try to perform really well.
We will see about the draw later in the day, but we have a second LEC versus LPL matchup coming up as BLG will take on G2 in just a few minutes. I'm taking that you will root for the LPL, but I want to have your pro player knowledge about this matchup and how do you think this one's going to go?
那其实下一场比赛又是一场 LPL 跟 LEC 的一个对决，那是 BLG 跟 G2 的一个比赛嘛。虽然我们当然知道小虎会支持 LPL 赛区的比赛，会支持 LBLG。那想知道一下你作为职业选手的这样一个视角，你觉得这场比赛会怎样展开呢？
我认为下一场比赛会就是特别的精彩，因为我觉得这2个队伍在血腥程度方面都是至少排前3的存在，然后可能会一直有击杀跟人头的发生，大家可能会觉得打得很乱，但我觉得是这2个队伍的魅力所在。
For sure, it's going to be a banger, I would say, because in terms of these two teams, they all play very aggressive. So I think I can expect that there will be a lot of kills. So it will be super bloody in this whole game. But I think that's what makes these two teams' games so amazing to watch.
And it's always a banger when it comes to LPL and LEC. Xiaohu, xie for the interview, and congrats on making it to quarterfinals. Iris, thank you so much as well. And Shox, back to you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to Weibo for making it to the quarterfinals. And now it is all up to this very last best of 3 of the Swiss stage. It is one LEC team left standing versus one LPL team, with an LPL team looking to get 4 teams into the quarterfinals. Let's see straight off the bat if the fans have any faith left in G2 and the LEC move to the quarterfinals.
I'm actually curious about this.
They were very,
How much
very
faith was
angry.
lost?
The MasterCard fan predicts you can vote every day at MasterCard GG on X to participate. That is actually closer than I thought it was going to be with how angry fans were at G2.
But listen, G2 looked bad yesterday against NRG. BOG looked equally bad against T1. They both lost in 0-2 fashion literally a day ago. So both teams need to recover, reel a little bit, and make their last stand.
It's all about recovery.
Yeah, I think it's trying to go from heartbreak to heroism, but I think the big one here is looking, can we get that from the jungle and support? They were the biggest upsets for me on both occasions. Yike and not having the best of time, Shun missing a ton of Nidalee Spears on what's supposed to be his champion, On not stepping up, Mickey missing hooks. It felt like the standout players that we've seen on BLG and G2 just did not perform at all over the course of yesterday.
And I think with their backs against the wall is when G2 does play at their best. They were so dominant in the LEC all year that sometimes you need to get pushed around a little bit to shake yourself back into playing well. So now they are literally Europe's last hope. It's against a titan of an LPL team who made it to the MSI Finals. Now is the time they'll step up. They have not made it to the quarterfinals of Worlds since 2020. They had the most legendary run in LEC history from 2018 to 2020. Last 2 years have not been it. They need to make this series count.
It has to be right now. You have to put up or shut up for G2, and the same goes for BLG. Let's head over to our casters.
Please. And the Pop Blossom is so awesome! It's Energy ready to win another one, but now Yank's ready for the follow-up, and Dofa's gonna run. The damage pours through. They lock down the enemy carry. Hansama falls. FBI's free firing. G2 cannot escape. Ace for nothing! 3 won't be killed just yet. Caps is down. Dokla unstoppable. And now Mickey falls too. Broken Blade will be broken in half. Yike and Hans are on the run, but they won't get far. Poppy can't live. Hans can't stop him. The loyal, the unwavering, the faithful shall be rewarded. It is an ace for one. Nobody thought they'd win LCS. Nobody thought they'd beat G2. It's time to change your minds. Energy, win the game, defeat G2, and go to the quarter-finals. Welcome back to Worlds 2023, where Energy was looking good, but my hand was not quite in the same
better days
situation as before. We're heading into our last possible qualifying team for the quarterfinals, but you know what, Azael? I think the quarterfinals are always a lot more fun when every major region's got a representative. So why don't we just go ahead?
Flowers.
Why don't we just go ahead?
The doctor said you couldn't do it.
Why don't we just go ahead and break this sucker again? Let's see if G2
Let's
can
go.
do it, or if the LPL is sending all.
Look at this from yesterday.
Let's head over to our casters.
Look at this.
And the Pop Blossom is so awesome! It's Energy ready to win another one, but now Yank's ready for the follow-up, and Dofa's gonna run. The damage pours through. They lock down the enemy carry. Hansama falls. FBI's free firing. G2 cannot escape. Ace for nothing! 3 won't be killed just yet. Caps is down. Dokla unstoppable. And now Mickey falls too. Broken Blade will be broken in half. Yike and Hans are on the run, but they won't get far. Poppy can't live. Hans can't stop him. The loyal, the unwavering, the faithful shall be rewarded. It is an ace for one. Nobody thought they'd win LCS. Nobody thought they'd beat G2. It's time to change your minds. Energy, win the game, defeat G2, and go to the quarter-finals. Welcome back to Worlds 2023, where Energy was looking good, but my hand was not quite in the same
better days
situation as before. We're heading into our last possible qualifying team for the quarterfinals, but you know what, Azael? I think the quarterfinals are always a lot more fun when every major
to really step up when the team needs them most, find comfort on these picks, perform at that top level, because they really need him to do it. And if he can have a pop-off game on a Zaya, on a Kaisa, on something like that, all of a sudden, maybe the Draven and the Kalista, those bans get dropped. Maybe you can create an opportunity for yourself to get on one of those picks that you're so feared on.
But the pressure is then on Hans to put up that performance on a different champion first. Last 2 bans of the first half of the draft are going to be 2 of the biggest power picks in the game right now. Orianna and Jarvan. Pretty much everybody is playing those champions. Nobody's playing them here in this game, but the Maokai, you saw that get locked in for G2. The number came up 95% pick ban presence. That's a very powerful first lock-in for G2 and for Yike.
It absolutely is, and we talk a lot about combinations of ultimates. I am such a fan of Renata. You know, we were seeing that in the last games. The Renata plus Maokai ultimate. I would also say Rumble plus Maokai. Maokai makes you stack, and those other ults make you want to spread, right? And when you combine them together, it's incredibly difficult to deal with. The Rumble is going to be available for Broken Blade if you wanted to go that route. though it hasn't been, one of his primary picks. He hasn't actually played it so far throughout the event.
Whoa.
But it is going to be the Cog Braum. This is one of the LEC specials for G2. People have been asking, where did it go? If you're not comfortable on the meta picks, where are these other picks that you look so good on in the LEC? And finally, backs against the walls, G2 will bring it out. It's the Cog Braum special here. Hans and Mickey, if they can show out on these picks in game number 1, maybe you end the Draven Callista bans, because this is 5 straight games now that has been banned against them. No one's going to change it until you show you can beat it.
First 3 picks on the other side, though, BLG, they're also going to lock in a powerful tank jungler in that Sejuani. They're going to pick up the Xayah in the bottom lane for Elk, and Bin on Jax. We know this man can get things done on the champ.
Absolutely, Bin on Jax is frightening. Hans, though, 9 games on the Cog this year, won 8 of them. So really was one of their primary picks, that people kind of knew as one of those pocket picks that they're terrified of. And I'm so excited to see what the answers are going to be here. What is the combination that they're going to put down, with that Xayah in the bot lane? Rakan obviously banned out. G2, I'm kind of expecting to focus more bans down towards that bot side. Are they worried about some of these range picks, these enchanters? The Bard's going to get taken away. Are they concerned about things along the lines of the Renata as well? Because they're not showing hard engage with their first 3. So I don't think Renata is as big of a concern. Right. Because you can play a longer range, more measured style of comp. I think Azir is a smart ban alongside what G2 are showing, because again, it's a non-committal comp. They don't have to go for this hard engage. You can just throw down the Maokai, use that first setup, use this Kog'Maw to kind of create this zone of control with that Braum, with that Maokai, have Hans go crazy. And I think that really functions well with a control mage like Azir. So smart bans so far through here. And the Renekton take...
What? Confess? I want to confess. Okay, go for it. I don't know, am I wrong or during that time મને જે ઠીક લાગ્યું મારાથી બોલાઈ ગયું તો મેં આ કર્યું છે ખબર સ્ટાર્ટર બ્રહ્મયારી સ્વામી ને પ્રબોધ સ્વામી ને બધા આવેલા ત્યારે એક વખત નિમિત બેને મને ફોન કરેલો મારી જોબ પર હતી ને એમને ફોન કરેલો ને મને લાસ્ટ યર ના ધીસ યર ને મને ટકોર કરેલી લાઈક ખીજવાયેલા જેવું સ્ટ્રોંગ થઈને કીધેલું ને પછી હું સભામાં ગયેલી રાત્રે પછી બીજે દિવસે તે જ્યારે કન્વર્ઝેશન થયેલું ને તો એમને મને એક વસ્તુ ત્યારે બહુ ઘણી વાત કરીને હું પણ સ્ટ્રેસમાં હતી ને એવું બધું આમ સિચ્યુએશન એવી હતી તો એમને મને એક વસ્તુ એવું કીધેલું કે એવું કામ કરો તમે ઘરે સંતોની પધરામણી કરાવી દો પણ એ પહેલા આપણા બેનું ડિસ્કશન થયેલું તો આપણે એવું મ્યુચ્યુઅલી નક્કી કરેલું ને મેં તમને પૂછેલું તો તમે કીધું આ વર્ષે નહીં આપણે કરશું કરવાનો છે પણ આપણું ઇન્ટેન્શન રોંગ નહીં આપણે એવું કીધું તો મેં એ ટાઈમે એમને મને એવું કીધું ને કે એક કામ કરો ભલે થાળ નહીં પણ પધરામણી કરાવી દો સંતોની તો મેં એવું કીધેલું કે ના નિમિત બેન અત્યારે નહીં કારણ કે મારી રીતે જોડે વાત થઈ છે ને તો અમને એ ના પાડે છે નોટ ધીસ યર એમ કે તો પછી જો તમારા સંતોની પધરામણી તમારા ઘરે ના પાડતા હોય તો પછી વાંધો નહીં અમે કંઈ નહીં કરી શકીએ પણ તમે સભામાં આવવાનું રાખો એમ તો એમને ત્યારે એવું કીધેલું ઇટ મે બી એ વસ્તુ એમને ચિરાગભાઈને પણ કીધી હોય ને એટલે ચિરાગભાઈ આપણાથી આટલા દૂર થયા હોય એવું કે મને અત્યારે આવો ખબર નહીં અચાનક આ વિચાર આવ્યો પણ માં તમને કન્ફેસ કરું કે મારા એવા ઇન્ટેન્શન્સ નહીં હતા કે તમે ના પાડી છે ને એટલા સંતોને નહીં ઘરમાં લાવવા પણ એ ટાઈમે મેં એવું કીધું હશે પણ મારો ઇન્ટેન્શન એવો હતો કે અમે મ્યુચ્યુઅલી નક્કી કર્યું છે અત્યારે સરેશબેન પણ આવેલા But what are you confessing?
I'm confessing that I admitted this in front of her. But it's a very big thing for them. For us, it's very fine. It's a very big thing for them. એટલે એ લોકો maybe એવું વિચારીને નિમિતબેન મારે તો એવું કોઈ વ્યવહારમાં ફેરફાર નહીં થયો પણ I just want કે આપણા બે વચ્ચે એવું કોઈ સિક્રેટ કે ફ્યુચરમાં કોઈ ત્રીજી વ્યક્તિ
It's not a secret, is it? પણ કોઈ ત્રીજી વ્યક્તિ તમને આવીને આ વસ્તુ કહે કે મોટી રીતના ચાલીને તો તમને એવું થાય ને કે તમારી વાઈફે પહેલા મને કેમ અપ્રોચ નહીં કર્યું તો મને આ અત્યારે યાદ આવ્યું તો મેં કન્ફેસ કરી દીધું મારી લાઈફ
Yeah, but before believing anyone, I'll come and speak to you.
but still એ જે ઘા હોય એ ટાઈમે જે ફ્રસ્ટ્રેશન હોય એ બહુ મોટું થઈ ગયું હોય પછી હું તમને કહું તો એ તમને કામ ડાઉન કરે પણ જે રીતનો તમને અપ્રોચ આવ્યો હોય.
But even if someone came to me, I'll be okay with you because I need to speak to you. મને યાદ પણ નહીં કે આપણે આવું decide કરેલું. That's why I come to you and say what happened. Because if I don't remember, somebody can say, oh, Sarang ye na parle. I don't remember this conversation.
I never want to keep any secret from you, that's why.
Maybe that's not a secret.
But doctor, my ભૂલ થઈ હોય તો મારે તમારી સામે કન્ફેસ કરવા જોઈએ.
Well, you haven't done any mistake. Okay. હવે તો રોબોટ વેક્યુમ ચાલવા જોઈએ કેમ નહીં
નહીં ચલાવતા કેમ કે મને નહીં ગમતું મેં મારી જરા કચરા પોતા કરી નાખું છું મસ્ત.
ઓકે બ્રેકફાસ્ટ શું કરશું બ્રેકફાસ્ટ વોફલ્સ
વોફલ્સ છે
કેટલા છે
મોટી ભાઈને વોફલ્સ ખાશે.
potato waffle sausages beans mushrooms.
I knew you want with breakfast.
Why not? Chala hash brown kon tame kaise. No need.
No need.
Waffles. Yeah? Karo. I've had a good day. I did something big.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Nice.
એક કરવાનું બહુ સ્મોલ હતું.
અને ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ.
પણ એ વિચાર આવે કે એ ટાઈમે એક કરવાનું ને આ કરશો અહીંયા તો એ થશે. It's big. Because I was frustrated. Yeah.
Up. Who does it look like? And two of the teams that immediately came into the conversation were some of the other top LPL competitors, BLG being one of them. When these guys are in the zone, when they're firing on all cylinders, they are a ferocious team.
They really are, and I mean, we kind of got to see some of those fireworks, and especially, to me, one of the most impressive games of the entire event was from Bin on his Cassante against KT early on in the tournament. Just took the game into his own hands. Absolute monster performance, and we've seen that from Bin over the years. We know that these guys, when they are really, really on. And the same thing goes for G2. These players, all 10 of them at their peak, are some of the best in the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. It's time to get into it. The pause has been resolved, and we're on to the rift, the dog maw. He's ready to go.
Who let the dogs out?
Let's see if G2 or BLG will strike first. Quick reminder, you can connect your League of Legends account with the Prime Gaming account to grab the exclusive experimentation emote right now.
So Hans forgot to buy items.
Okay, that's...
So he is basing, okay, thank God.
That's...
I was getting really nervous for a second.
That could have been a problem. Okay, Hans has gone back to base. Yeah, Dagger, 4-pot start.
Yeah, so really worried about potential poke there. You know, about getting maybe kind of whittled down here by this Enchanter support, by the Milio, plus the Xayah. Obviously, Q poke from the Xayah can come through. The bouncing ball, I think it's the, what is it, Omega Fire Kick, I want to say it is, or Ultra Omega Fire Kick, there you go. That one is pretty easy to hit. It kind of, it cheats a little bit, let's be honest. It kind of has that little guiding hit towards enemy champions if you bounce it off a minion. So the poke can actually be pretty reasonable. So clearly is worried about that poke and wants to stay healthy here. So much about Kog'Maw Braum, though, is just playing around your cooldowns. Because people think about this as, oh, Kog'Maw, that's a full scaling champion. You don't want to do anything. But actually, you are incredibly strong with your W up. When your W's down, you don't want to play the game at all.
You're a nice ranged minion with a dog skin.
Yeah, nice is even pushing it. But when you have the W up, you can scrap. You can step forward and take these aggressive trades. So it's all about playing around those cooldowns for both sides. For BLG, they want to track the W cooldown here from Hans and look to take aggressive trades when it is down.
And you can see the ping there on the enemy red buff as G2's ward spotted Shun walking through. He doesn't start the red yet, goes from the Raptor camp to the Krugs instead, but they at least have the exact position on where that enemy jungler's at.
I mean, this is so interesting, right? You know, clearly G2 are trying to trade really aggressively. They know they have the sustain advantage, but it is longsword 3-pot on the other side, so it's not a massive advantage. Yeah, both AD carries also playing biscuits here. So 2 potions already chugged here by Hans, 1 by Elk. They wanted to try to trade it really aggressively. You know, maybe he was even intentionally not buying to try to walk out on the map and see what the buy was from Elk and then adjust his buy to that. You know, that could be possible, that he wanted to see, okay, what kind of style are you playing for? If you're going to go Cull, maybe I go a less kind of defensive style of build. So maybe that was intentional and I kind of made a miscall on it. But it's going to be interesting to see how the sustain works out and if they're going to be able to survive down in this bot lane 2v2 early on.
Well, it is the early lane control for the side of BLG as Elk and On will get that massive wave crashing into the turret. Hans will pick up as many of these as he can as Elk will just try to get whatever poke there is to find while this farm is demanded underneath the turret. You can see up in the top side, it's also the push going the way of BLG there too. Bin's in control, mid lane's telling the same story. It's triple lane priority in the first couple levels for BLG.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have that push in. And that's going to make the job that much harder here for Yike. You know, when you're taking a look at the mini-map, there's already, you know, multiple deep wards here trying to track. There's a ward in the river as well, all trying to track where this Maokai is. Because when you're playing aggressively, when you have push, you are exposing yourself to the enemy jungler, you're exposing yourself to that gank, but you're also gaining the advantage of being able to get these deep wards down and track the enemy jungler to keep yourself safe, which is going to allow Shun to have kind of that edge, right, where he can have the priority on moving laners, where they're coming to help him first. And Bin, again, just trying to play this aggressively, trying to push in as Shun completes full clear, does bot side scuttle, and he's going to have an early base and be back out on the map. You can see Caps moving up towards the top side. He's trying to make sure that he can defend this scuttle. It is a pushing wave in towards him, but they want to secure that topside scuttle for Yike, and they will be able to do it.
Yep, it's going to be junglers both doing full clears, +1 scuttle crab. Everything settles out even. Yike throwing the sapling into the enemy jungle. Now he's going to make his recall, but it still is tempo advantage for Shun because he's back out onto the map as Yike is doing the recall.
Exactly, and you can tell Yike with the first strike, he is going to be solo AP. You know, it is going to be very likely just on hit cog. Yeah, there's a little bit mixed damage, but let's be honest, it's mostly solo AP, so he's very likely going to be Demonic Embrace, so we mostly see that into tank mythics.
Ooh,
as
nice.
Hans is getting real low.
Meanwhile, top side, Shun coming
trouble.
up. Immediately the flash from Bin to guarantee the land on the counter strike. Broken Blade. He's trying to get away, but he gets stunned. The flash is wasted, and Broken Blade falls first blood over to Bin's Jax.
The flash is wasted, and bot side, they've already lost the plate and the 10 CS advantage here for Elk. That is massive. And I'm not sure if BB wanted to actually tackle the minion back up, or if he was trying to get a different angle. He was clearly trying to avoid the counter-strike there from the Jax, but that angle, man, he's so far up the lane that it's almost impossible to avoid the gank from that spot. And then flashing with the Sejuani passive stacking up means you're just going to be stunned up afterwards and taken down, so it's pretty rough there for BB.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Hold on, we got a little bit of a scrap between the junglers. Caps has to be careful here. Only 300 HP left. Hitting level 6, turning back on Yagao. Nearly kills him, forces out the flash from the BLG mid. Nicely played as Broken Blade rotates down now too. On has made the rotation after his lane and jungle duo. And now Shun stepping forward. Caps still at about 400 HP. They're really, both teams just dancing, trying to see if they can find the angle to push this just a little bit further. They both know that if there's a slight misstep from the other side, you got an opportunity.
And that was beautiful movement from Caps, and Caps at his best is known for that. The sidesteps there took what was looking like a really hard losing fight where Yagao had a massive HP advantage and turned it around, forced out that flash, but now Shun and On are behind him. And they are in trouble.
Mickey and Hans got to try to get out of here. Hans going to get stunned up. They don't want to go underneath the turret here. Instead, going to turn the attention over onto Mickey instead. Not much more to find. So both summoner spells from Hans Sama. They're not going to get the kill, but that Kog'Maw is so vulnerable now.
And look at the wave. Shun's just going to walk around, but he was spotted by that river ward. So Yike has to get down here and cover them because this wave is pushing away from G2, so they need to crash it. The problem is, even with Yike here, he's low. You can't win the 3v3. Yep. So I don't think you can crash this wave, even with your jungler here, and they're disrespecting.
They go for the flash, and it's Hans Sama immediately killed. G2 do not respect the return gank, and they pay the price.
They knew he was there. They saw that he walked around into the brush, and they just didn't think that he had stayed, and now they get punished so heavily. Bin taking a big hit, but does actually proc his demolish and will take a plate, but that is devastating for G2 because now you crash the wave as BLG down in the bot lane 2v2. You deny another probably, I would say, a wave to half a wave. There is a cannon wave, so it's not going to be nearly as bad. But Hans is going to walk back to lane. The wave is going to be pushing away from him. He's going to have no summoners, and you can just call down the repeat gank. Even potentially if Yagao can get pushed. He's 6 now on Talia. You can look to visit again. So we can watch this one more time. He uses the tackle to avoid the counter-strike. There was no angle for another minion, so I'm going to say, you know, that was still a good play. But the problem is, you're so far up the lane now that there's no getting out. And then this ward here, that ward spotted him. They knew that Shun was in this area. They knew that he was going to be around here. They saw him walk out of the brush, but they're just saying, he's not going to stay surely this long, right? But then there's no summoners on Hans. Q flash from Shun. It's an easy kill there. G2, a bit of disrespect. I mean, they really wanted to crash the wave because this is in a horrible spot, but bad goes to worse. They didn't have the health to do it, and they get punished.
It's a tough early game here for G2. Been on this Jax. When they first went back and shopped after the scrap up here in the top side, after the first blood, Ben went straight for the plated steel caps instead of a tier 1 boot and a sheen, for example. He wants that extra move speed to be able to play these trades and play this lane however he needs to. If his jungler comes back up and he's already got move speed advantage, it makes the gank into a kill so much easier.
Absolutely, and Poppy does a lot of physical damage in these early trades, has to be respected, so is going to be effective in that regard as well. There's also going to be caps. You can see he's building lethality, so if you're thinking about who you're going to face in the side lanes, later on it's someone doing physical damage, so you're going to get value out of the move speed, you're going to get value out of that armor here as well. And it's G2 starting this up on the top side. BLG are aware of it, though. The question is, are they in position to challenge? I would say no. With the push from Broken Blade, he can move down. Poppy has so much value in these early skirmishes. So G2 will get an objective here and get themselves onto the board.
And honestly, they needed it. Everything up until this point was going BLG's way, so getting some extra gold into their coffers from a nice Herald charge could be what they need to make sure they don't fall too far behind.
Look at Yagao, though, cheating down. Anytime he moves down, they have to be worried about the ulti down towards bot side. They have to be worried about the potential dive, and they're setting up a trap.
Shun comes in, not quite going to find the engage on Yike, and now he turns it around with Twisted Advance. Caps trying to put some DPS into the BLG jungler, but On has made his way up into the fight first. He still might have the Breath of Life if they need it, but he's not going to cast anything too early here.
Beautifully done by Yike. Really nice movement. Sidesteps the ult, then Twisted advances to avoid the shove, but they do force the flash off Mickey because he was on the roam and he thought they were going to fully commit to that. So he flashed over the wall, and on top side, it's BB who's going to have to let that ulti expire. And unfortunately, not going to be able to get anything from it. But Ben just playing this matchup so aggressively and creating a big CS advantage there. He's just the master of this champion. To me, has been the best Jax in the world, it feels like, for a while now. When you think back to even his Suning run and some of the best tournaments that he's performed in, it's always on this iconic Jax, and he is way out ahead. You can see that BB and Hans both down alongside those supports nearly at the bottom.
On, gonna get hit with the winner's bite here. Immediately backing away with a cozy campfire for the extra heals. That campfire also close enough to Elk to give him the extra range to continue providing covering fire as the support backs away. The whole time, it's Yagao and Shun working together to take the first Drake of the game. Not a super early one. Almost 11 minutes in before we get that first Drake, so it's not gonna be a super rapid soul stack.
But I will say, bad news for G2, you know, if you're trying to hope for a bad soul to come up as, Caps.
Yagao flashing away again. Caps doing a good job making sure that the BLG mid laner does not have that summoner.
Yeah, really good job, just lying in wait there, wants to punish him as he's threatening the roam to bot side, camps in the brush, forces out the flash. But it is going to be that Chemtech coming up next, which means it's not a Chemtech soul, which means there's really high potential here because we got Cloud and the Chemtech. So you're getting a Primo soul guaranteed this game. So now I think we're going to see teams really put more priority on those dragons because whether you get Ocean or Hextech or Infernal, whatever, you're going to be happy. But BLG instantly spot the TP and they are running for the hills.
On is the target. Caps wants to try to find him. A little more damage from long range coming out from Hans Sama's Kog'Maw. Needs one more living artillery. Ain't going to hit it just yet. Dies! Hans Sama dials it in.
Nicely done. Hans fully commits that. They needed that kill. They get it on Hans. He is on point. The LEC sniper raining down hell onto On, knocks him down. It will cost him a plate in mid and the TP plus both summoners from Hans. but still, they're getting some momentum. They're getting some gold onto this Kog'Maw, and that's absolutely something that they needed from this position. You can see, though, Shun walks over that topside vision, so he has been spotted. There's pings around him, but it's a second plate going to Yagao, so that is a lot of gold given up.
Man, and they knew to go after Emilio as well. I like the fact they didn't even waste time from the very start of the play. But now Caps just immediately jumped on by Shun, walks behind the W2, but it will not matter. Yagao puts him in the dirt underneath the rocks. BLG, kill number 3.
And that actually really hurts because you TP bot to help get your bot lane ahead. You lose all of the waves to do that. Then you walk back, you immediately die. So now potentially losing a third plate. Plus, I would say he lost between 3 and 4 waves doing this in this whole sequence of events. So now we're going to see Yagao, you know, from way behind in gold to now he's actually going to be about 300 to 500 gold ahead off of this play. So it is a pretty big swing in mid lane, but that is Caps getting this bot lane ahead. And BLG reacted quick. The instant heal for the move speed. Elk is pushing into Caps, trying to create space because he knows that On is the one that's vulnerable. He has his ulti to disengage. He's going to be fine. He gets a root down on the Caps, but Hans flashes forward, pops the ghost, nails multiple ults in a row, and this is just beautifully done here by BLG. Caps moving to the side to try to get that vision down. You stack the passive, you land that stun first. It guarantees the ulti to follow. End the fling there as well, and now not even gonna get the charge maybe.
Yeah, the Herald is destroyed before it can attack the turret. Yike and Caps both at half HP. Yagao and On singing a similar song as Broken Blade makes his way into the bottom lane with the Unleashed TP. Elk fighting it off using the ulti and the flash to
they
get
don't see
himself
him.
out. Ben is coming around from the side. He's gonna go after Hans. The Jax has arrived, the counter-strike is down, and Hans Sama's out of there.
He wants
Broken
more.
Blade might be number 2. He's waiting on the steadfast presence to fade. Ben's going in. Flash into the empowered auto attack. He's going to be stunned up into the wall, but it will not matter. Double kill for the Jax Copter. He's got to try to get away now. The Caps is coming in to try to take him down. Shun's in the middle of 3. Ben stays alive with a TP coming in for BLG. Nobody on their side dies, and it's 2 more kills for the LPL's number 2 seed.
Gigabin going off in the bot lane, the counter TP. The staff starts spinning, and Jax ain't stopping. He's charging in for that second kill, flashing in under the tower, takes down Hans, takes down Broken Blade, and you can see it in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot. That advantage in the top lane is huge already.
I feel like almost every time we see one of these, there's at least one going the other way, but it's all BLG here.
You can see G2 know we need to get Hans into this game. First it's Caps TPing down to the bot lane to help him out. Then it's Broken Blade TPing in as well, but they had no eyes on the teleport here from Ben. No way out for Hans because he's missing those summoners. And then Ben, he realizes, I've got this. I can actually take him out here. Flash forward. There's the W. Flash from Broken Blade to slam him into the wall, but he can't pick up the passive buckler, and On is there with the shield to save him. And then in goes Caps, but On held the Breath of Life the whole time. Baits him in, has the heal to keep Ben alive, and it ends up being nothing there for G2.
The shields from the warm hugs, the healing from the cozy campfire, the healing plus the cleanse. These words sound so ridiculous when I'm saying them in this situation.
I was just looking, you're talking so serious. The warm hugs were critical there.
But it's true.
The soft blanket that Emilio put on his teammates. The love and care with which he healed them up from the Breath of Life.
The comfort that Emilio gives to the Jax saved his life, man. Ben gets away with that. He's got his Divine Sunderer now.
Respect.
The bane of all tanks. The Jax is now in primo real estate here in the side lane.
Well, man, On just walking around the map, giving out some warm hugs, you know?
You're really loving this stupid name. It's great. It's great. All right, let's see.
It's a vibe, man.
Let's see if G2 can make any sort of a stand against BLG here for this second Drake. You already mentioned the fact that these are the 2 usually least desired souls.
Yeah.
So if BLG can go off to a 2-0 Drake lead, they're going to feel really good about it. And it looks like G2 are saying, you know what? Gold deficit's too big. It's a fight in open ground. Too risky.
And look at the topside summoners. You know, there's no flashes on the top side for G2 whatsoever. I think it's pretty scary. You know, Caps could potentially be taken advantage of there. Yes, there's missing summoners on the other side as well, but I think inherently BLG in a better spot. They had the inside track, so they will get it, and it's going to be Infernal Soul here. So opens up that map a little bit more, which honestly I think does tend to favor BLG when you're playing a composition that wants to attack from multiple angles. Having the reduced architecture, less walls on the map, more angles of attack. And less walls that Poppy can send you into always is going to feel really, really good. So now, moving in towards that bottom side, taking the Dragon, you can see On was there to support Shun on that bot side. Yagao pushing it up. They are really playing it out smart. And Bin not overstepping on the top side because he knows he's on the weak side of the map. So you push in bot, you guarantee the tower there, you take away the jungle camp, you push up mid. Sure, you lose a tower on top side, but they are getting that little bit extra. And that is one of the signs of these great macro teams, these teams that know how to play the map, know how to press an advantage. You know, even when you try to make something happen across the map, you're losing out that little bit more.
17 minutes into the game. It's a 3,000 gold lead with +2 Drakes for BLG on an Infernal Soul map. They're sitting in a great spot to push this one even further, snowball it even harder. If you're G2 at this point, what is the play to bandage that bleeding and get this to a game state where you can fight back?
I mean, I think the play is just all eggs in the Hans basket. It's what they've kind of already been doing. You know, you can see that they know they need to get Hans in a good position. Your side lane can be losing, but if you can get Hans in a good enough position and everyone just collapses around him, peels off these melee champions, you give that Kog'Maw time to stand and fire with the Braum passive stacking, he can win you a team fight. He can make some magic happen, but they have got to get him the gold that he needs. They've got to keep him safe. So G2 are going to try to set up shop around where Hans is. They're going to set up wards. They're going to try to create these safe spaces to get him gold and make sure that he stays accelerated.
Well, the problem is peeling off a melee champion is one thing. Peeling off the best Jax in the world, who currently has 3 kills, very far ahead of the curve of the game, is an entirely different matter. So much of this game is going to be on Bin's shoulders, one way or the other. If Jax gets to play the game he wants to play, G2's dead in the water.
And that's a terrifying thing, right? You're playing Ghost Flash, you're not playing Cleanse, so if he gets it up on top of this Kog'Maw, even if you have the peel there, is they're going to look for a pick here on Yike.
Oh, they lined up the Weaver's wall to just barely reach the part of the terrain, so Yike had to flash over. He keeps himself alive. Broken Blade, nicely timed on the ulti there to knock Yagao away, so he can use the Demolish proc, instantly take that tier 1 turret in the bottom lane.
Good stuff there from Broken Blade. Needed to get a little bit of something back because he's likely going to be the person who's taxed with stopping Bin here in the side lanes. And it's going to be a really tough challenge. Elk feeling himself a little bit, trying to get aggressive there. We'll see where he wants to go, you know, with his build next. Hans, I'm also curious as well because there's so many different thought processes on how you actually want to play Kog'Maw. Some players will just go 2 damage items into full tank. Some players, you know, really will stack the damage items and depend on their team to keep them safe. Yeah. You know, so there's a lot of different options that you can go. You almost always, you know, want to have Hurricane. You almost always want to have Rageblade. Sometimes people go into Bork. Sometimes people just go pure tank from there and just rely on the base damages and the attack speed to be more than enough. You can also see Mickey going Locket. You're going to go those most kind of like altruistic, the most helpful items towards your teammate.
Kog'Maw's the main character.
He is absolutely the main character. You're the supporting guest. It's protect the president in this one for G2. So gonna be really interested to see where Hans takes his build. You know, does he feel like he's gonna be safe on just purely damage items with his team's peel, or does he feel that he needs to build some resistances and some safety himself?
And we're talking a lot about Hans because he is on this champion that almost always commands its entire team to play around it. Hold on now. Face checking. Caps ready to bring it down, but it's Yike with the sapling that ends up getting the kill.
Caps drops the hammer there on, who tried to check the brush with his Q. Didn't hit anyone. He's like, oh, guess it's safe. But Caps was recalling there and liked his chances in that one. Gets the freebie, plus gets both summoners off of On, which is really nice. It's those kind of plays that you're going to have to get, and you can see that G2 really focusing on topside vision. Look at the wards that they're kind of littering around this topside, around the Baron. There are, of course, some BLG wards for potential flank angles there too, but G2 really putting emphasis on this. I think because they have Kog, they know they can shred Baron, and they're expecting BLG to play towards bot side on this next Dragon, and that leads them to believe, hey, maybe we can actually make some sort of a Baron rush play or get a turn and a pick if we can control vision. So step 1, controlling vision. They're trying to do that. We'll see if they can go forward from here.
Big moment coming up. 5 seconds left until the 3rd Drake of the game spawns. It's Soul Point if BLG takes it. Big stuff. G2, you can see they're already gathering their players here in the bot side river to try to stop it. They're rushing the Drake on spawn.
Yeah, they got it. I mean, Elk was on a recall. Yagao was topside, Bin based. Maybe BLG try to go for a fight afterwards, but there's no shot you're actually going to be able to get that Dragon.
Seismic shove onto Mickey. Shun's going to be knocked away. He stays alive for now. Mickey needs to retreat here too. With Shun taking that much damage, BLG don't want to push this any further despite the lead that they have.
Really nicely done by G2. You can see BLG really was prioritizing item completions. 2 items there, 2 items there. They wanted to go back to base, they wanted to spend their gold, but the timing was such that they gave that a window of opportunity for G2 to steal away a dragon. And now G2 has kind of bought that little bit of a lease on life here. They've gotten themselves some more time. And BLG must maintain vision in this area because Cog can absolutely blast through a Baron. He is one of those really, really fast takers. And BLG has not been able to maintain river control. They are now moving in and are going to try to probably clear out some of these wards, though.
Man, if you're Broken Blade, you have to be so respectful of Bin's Jax. Now, you mentioned the 2-item power spike. Black Cleaver is so strong in these side lane situations. The armor shred plus the move speed with how far the distance is from Broken Blade and any semblance of safety. If that Jax catches him out, he's in trouble. Nice steal there from Shun, making sure that they can secure the blue buff from G2's side of the map, as On and Elk are also going to continue pushing forward.
And just a minute ago, we showed Bin maybe in some trouble. They're TPing in, they want to commit.
Yeah, they really want to go after this. Bin recognizes it, tries to flash away. Now Elk's ready to fire back, goes for the blade caller, but he ain't gonna find anything yet. The feathers fly. Mickey tries to step it out. Elk's only got 300 HP remaining as On wants to block that nature's grasp. BLG disengage it. Caps and Mickey both very low. Elk at about half HP. Bin also down to critical health. He needs to do a recall. Bin's got the Unleashed TP still ready to go. Caps has one of his own if he needs to take a recall too.
Yeah, G2 really wanted to commit to that play. They commit the TP, they flash as well from Caps. They can't get a kill, but they do at least get the flash off of Bin. They get the ulti off of Elk, but the question is that enough? And I'm not sure because there's a lot of summoners spent. Mickey flash, Caps flash, Hans as well with that ghost. And now they're saying, you spent too much. We're going to make you fight us right here, right now. Caps is TPing back, but Mickey is very far away, and Bin is threatening this flank.
Caps with a little bit of poke, only onto Yagao. Cozy Campfire is really good in these situations. The AoE heal over time keeps these health bars topped off against some of that poke. G2 trying to approach, make sure that BLG don't just get uncontested control over the river. Shun coming into the mid lane, Cap's gonna be caught out. Shun still looking for him, Cap's at 25%. Remember, he already used his Unleashed TP to get back to where he is right now, so if he recalls, he has to walk back.
Good job from G2, though. They closed ranks around Caps. He was missing his flash, so he needed everyone else to step up and be able to keep him safe in that position. If he dies there, it is absolutely devastating. It's likely going to be a Baron start for their opponents. So good job by G2 getting themselves out of that situation. The battle rages on, though, for vision of this top side. You know, it was just about 2 or 3 minutes ago. I highlighted there was a huge amount of wards from G2. Then BLG come in, clear everything out. Now G2 again takes control off the resets. They're reestablishing vision control. It's going to be so much about this. And BLG, right off the reset, back towards that topside river. There is clearly so much emphasis on this, and there will continue to be throughout this game because they know both teams really can threaten a very, very quick Baron.
And man, I got my eyes on Elk. We've been talking a lot about Hans because the Kog'Maw is the main character of G2's squad. But Elk on the Xayah, this is a champion that when played to its maximum can absolutely carve up a team fight. And Elk's the kind of player that can do that mechanical performance.
He's the man with the knife. He's looking to do some carving.
Let's see if Caps can get away from this one. Yagao brings in the Weaver's Wall to back up Bin. Guarantee that this is not a fair fight. Bin's on a rampage. Caps is in a coffin. What can G2 get back? Anything?
I don't know. I mean, you get mid-push, but that's going to be about it. Because if you overcommit, you're going to get double TP'd on. Both the TPs are up for BLG, so you can't really push too far here as G2. It would be a bridge too far. So Bin TP's out towards mid. Yagao just continues pushing towards bot. Broken Blade's looking to answer, but you can see on the minimap, there's kind of this little skirmish, and now he's just going to TP up towards topside. They're going to force the Baron right here, right now.
BLG's ready to go. Caps is still dead for another 15 seconds, and he doesn't have TP when he respawns. Yagao's got to make sure he gets back to safety, flashing out of the way of the Glacial Fissure. Baron's still going to be burned down. Yike, looking for an entryway into the pit. They're not wanting to burn it down too low just yet. It's going to be slain by Elk on the Xayah. Frontline, tanked up by Bin, but he goes golden, keeping himself alive. Yike's going to die first. Blade Caller locks down Mickey. It's 2 kills, and Baron over to the side of BLG, and a double kill for Yagao.
It's the LPL forcing fights around missing cooldowns, missing summoners. This is their bread and butter. They kill Caps on side lane because he had no flash. They start Baron because he had no TP. They know they can make it happen. They know they can find the angle to do it. They secure it with the Xayah E plus the Smite. That combo very strong in nailing down these Barons, and Maokai does not have a good secure.
And they immediately get the Drake right after for Soul Point. Isaac, behind the scenes in a previous series, you were telling me about how you think it's one of the strengths of the LPL. The region plays so well around missing cooldowns, and they just showcased it here again with BLG's series of plays.
Absolutely. This is one of the strengths, one of the hallmarks of the best LPL teams. Is a lot of people in the West will say, well, why are you fighting? There's not an objective. The LPL will fight to get cooldown advantages. The LPL will fight to create these incremental edges where they can then slam home an edge because you're missing a summoner, you're missing an ult, and they feel that is enough to make it happen. So they go here. It is a bit of a flip, but they have the edge of the Xayah with the Feather Pull to try to secure it, and they're able to turn. They're always going to win the fight because even though Caps is going to respawn, he has no TP, so he can never join. So even if that's stolen, BLG are confident that they can get the fight win, get something from it, and now have a massive advantage, nearly 7K here in the lead. And it's going to be so hard for G2 to come back from here.
They're down so much, man. 7,000 gold lead. Soul Point Baron still up for BLG for the next minute and 15 seconds.
I mean, just look up at the top lane, right? It's 3 completed item to 1 in the garage sale here. And now the Baron buff is going to be there for Bin. And tanks cannot clear minions against the Baron buff. It is one of their big weaknesses against these split pushers. You just can't do anything about it. So now it's going to be incredibly hard. You're having to overload the top side because the Jax is pushing up there. But guess what? That means Elk gets a free tier 2 in mid. Bot wave is also pushing in. They're going to try to make a play onto Bin, but he's too far back. Gao is covering him. Shun is covering him. And it's going to be really tough for G2.
Once Jax has the Zhonya's Hourglass, it is so obnoxious to try to kill him. Cleaver has ability haste, Sunder has ability haste, Hourglass has ability haste. Mickey's trying to go in and make something happen here in the mid lane. Shun is back over the wall, they gotta be careful. Yagao firing off the Weaver's wall, but nobody's gonna be caught. Elk stepping up, auto attacks into the turret. Broken Blade trying to use the Keeper's Verdict, but just lets it run out instead.
But again, they're buying time for Bin, right? They throw out these ultis, they throw out these cooldowns, they draw people here, and then Bin takes the turret top. And as you say, once you have the Zhonya's, when it comes time to a team fight, you jump on Hans, you press Counter-Strike. As Counter-Strike expires, you go into Zhonya's, you come out, you Counter-Strike again. And Hans cannot walk past you to fight. Nope. He has to respect that or he'll die. But it means that he's not going to be able to effectively deal damage, and that is the problem that G2 have. They're looking for an engage, though.
Yike wants it. Nature's Grasp goes in. They get the Keeper's Verdict for the injection as Mickey is in the front line, trying to get himself away. The feathers fly. Elk's only got 10 HP left. He's got to get back into the fight now. BLG have been held at bay. G2 will hold the line.
Almost was able to take down Elk there out of that ultimate from the Xayah. Kog'Maw shot one of those ultis out, almost clipped him. Elk had to flash. So they do get the summoners, they do get the ult. They hold the line here. They've lost a lot of turrets though, a lot of gold, and it's gonna mean this next fight here is that much more difficult, as it will be Infernal Soul on the line. But I like the engage here from G2. Maokai LT comes out, they look for the engage. The Breath of Life is there to disengage it, but it's a great ejection from Broken Blade. And you can see as Elk steps forward, he gets stunned up by the Braum passive with Kog hitting him. He does force out summoners, though, from the Kog'Maw on the other side, and that may be even more devastating as Jax has Flash, Shun has Flash. They are going to be targeting Hans.
So another big problem here. Once again, the timers are lining up for BLG. They have a really good situation where if they rush this Soul on spawn, they can grab it, and then there's still 20 seconds before the Baron's up. So it's not like G2 can just try to trade that. If you can hard force this Soul, immediately translate that over to Baron, you're in a great spot.
And you have to make the judgment call now as G2. Do we force here for the fight, even if we don't have good positioning? Or do we give up the Soul, give up this guaranteed permanent power with the hope that maybe we can make a miracle happen at the Elder and hope that that just erases everything previous? Because if you give up the Infernal Soul without fighting, you're also giving up the Baron, and then you're going to have to try to hold against this massive onslaught that will be coming through. So G2 have to decide, can we actually hold there, or do we risk now? Because if you fight now, you're betting your whole game on a fight where Hans has no cooldowns.
It's one of those situations in the game where all of your plays are low percentage plays, and you just have to find the highest one of the low.
What's the best one?
Yeah, that's the trouble of these kinds of situations. And it's a situation that BLG have managed to play so well enough to force G2 into.
Look at Yagao, he has an angle here.
Yagao looking for a Weaver's Wall, fires it off, separates Yike from the rest of the team. Seismic Shove ain't gonna find a mark just yet. Nature's Grasp flies out, Shun trying to block it from the rest of the team. Broken Blade here in the front line. Not a whole lot coming out of that one.
No, not going to be able to get much. They do get the ulti off of Shun and Yagao, though, so relatively even trade. And G2 clearly have drawn the line in the sand. They're going to fight here. They're going to fight now.
They want to go
all about
for
Hans.
Elk is onto the Drake. He's going to start DPSing. The rest of the team's just keeping everybody away. Shun is close enough to smite, but that's it. Broken Blade goes for the Keeper's Verdict. Ben is going to be taken out with the Infernal Soul. Goals over to VLG. Shun here on the front line as Mickey's taken down to 10 HP. Elk going to find the kill on that one as Ben re-enters the fight in the back line, grabbing the kill on Hans. Broken Blade trapped in the pit, has to flash out to try to get away, but it's already 3 dead bodies in G2 jerseys. BLG just won the game.
Ben found the angle with the TP, gets in onto Hans, takes him down, no problem. They get the Infernal Soul. They're going to head up towards that Baron. They don't feel that they can close it out just here right now, so they're going to try to guarantee it, grab both of these buffs, and then they're going to have everything that they need to make this happen. And again, Ben, you can see him on the side here. G2 are marketing him. They actually knock him out, but watch this. On the minimap, he TPs. He TPs to this ward instead of running back. G2 did not expect him to get there that fast. He gets right in onto Hans. Smart stuff there from Ben. And on the other side, the Dragon was secured. BLG, no doubt about it, looking in form today. And if you weren't already thinking it would be an impossible challenge here for G2, now the GA comes in for Ben. Now the 4th item comes in for Elk. Everything is there. Shun picks up the Anathema's chains. Guess who that's going on? It's going on Kog'Maw.
There is one player on BLG who has even died this game, and it's the support. These guys are playing some immaculate League of Legends here. Ben on the Jax, 5-0-1, making choices like what you were talking about to go for the unexpected usage of the TP, just to catch them off guard and secure yourselves a team fight win and a Soul and a Baron. Mickey stepping away from the seismic shove. Still on top of the unraveled earth. Keeper's Verdict again. Gonna try to find that removal as Caps has to go into the stasis. Elk now in a spot where he's gonna fight off 1v4. Finds a killing spree on Caps. Elk still alive, but finally gonna be shut down by Hans. Yagao and Ben have made their way into the fight. Flash forward, counter strike. Shun leads the charge. There it is. There it goes, baby. BLG just stomp them.
BLG, they're going to take this game, a clean game 1 against G2, 16-3. The Soul to their name, both Barons as well, make no doubt about it. BLG are here to play.
It's the last series before the quarterfinals, and BLG come out swinging. They'll start it off 1-0.